is up, guys? Welcome back to episode 6 in Spain. Of Beer and Wings. Yes.
We hit that one really hardcore last time.
Yeah, we need to do it again. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and Beer and Wings. Okay, so that's the intro. But in Spain, I hear they call this episode Seis. Just letting you know. That's what it's called, Seis. But yeah, guys, we are back. We are not canceled yet. We're so thankful to have the support and people showing up and clicking the likes and doing the things. You guys have been awesome.
Still doing better than any other podcast from some average Joes at episode 6.
I would fully agree. So, and thus, we brought on a special guest on episode 6.
Hey, he's our first guest.
He is our first official guest. We had another guest. He's our first official guest.
Yeah, guest host starting out. And now this is our first guest.
But I want to give a shout out to, and if you watch the live stream, guys, you're fully aware, we are bringing you the Krafty One, Seth himself. What is up, Seth? Woo!
Hello, all. It's a pleasure to be on here. I just appreciate just giving a chance to kind of come here and speak to the grand subject that we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely.
It really hits home. So
yeah. Well,
thank
sweet.
You.
Well, you popped in mind, for me personally, just being honest, I mean, A, I love you, but B, it was the fact that this was the topic. I was talking to your fiance, soon-to-be wife, and I was talking to her, and I was like, hey, do you think...
Who is his fiance, soon-to-be wife?
My daughter.
Oh,
yeah, so why are you giving all the cookies already? Cheese and rice. But
I just wanted to know, I wanted to let people know we're big fans of nepotism.
Yes, nepotism exists here on Beer and Wings. But this was an episode that we're going to be, we'll dive into that in a minute, but I was like, Seth, I think he would be a really good guest for this episode. So thank you, first off, for being here. Second off, I've been super excited. We've been talking kind of about having you on the show anyway.
Of course.
So I'm really excited you're here.
Heck yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome, dude. And I also noticed, just because, I've heard it in his voice before, but looking at the waveform and stuff, now that we can see it right in front of us, his timbre is so low. It's so naturally low. It's
Seth's?
Yeah.
You're a low timber kind of fella.
We're going to get the comments about that sex appeal.
Oh my
God. He's being the crafty one. Oh Lord. Why is mine high? What does that mean, Zach?
That means you're annoying and everyone
I'm going to go crawl into the trash can. This episode, it is, we're going to cover a bunch of stuff, actually. But this episode today is about mental health. Largely focused, because it is June, and in June is Men's Health Month in general. But we want to talk about mental health specifically. But also, we can segue off into general overall health. Like, hey, Matt, you're approaching 50. You're still kind of overweight,
how's that blood
buddy.
pressure looking,
Probably
man?
should do something about that. Yeah, while I sip my beer. Hold on. But
you keeping that sodium low, or what's up, dude?
I don't know. But, fellas, I think we need to hit this off appropriately. Let's hit it with the OG and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Sachet. Oh,
hey, that was crisp.
That was crisper than the apple of my Red's Wicked. That was good stuff.
Oh, Lord. Real quick, also, where are we recording? You're going to notice an audio difference.
There's going to be a slight audio difference, guys, but we have been afforded a luxurious place here at the guest house in the bug domain of Bug Girl. We are. I made that shit sound good, is what I did.
Yes.
Yeah, we're literally sitting in an itty bitty kitchen, and we're not. But anyway,
in a kitchen.
We decided to switch it up a little bit for this week because we have a guest. We want to afford room. We want to also help kind of control the audio. I know we've listened to a couple of them, guys. We record this real. We're real people, and sometimes you hear my bird squawk or my dog.
I'm completely AI generated. Matt brings me on every episode just for this reason. He also runs the YouTube for Zenith Darksky, and it's just completely AI-driven gameplay.
Just telling you guys, ChatGPT is amazing. Don't sleep on it. It's good stuff. Thank you, Elon. We love you.
All right.
His is Grok, though, I thought.
Yeah, his is Grok.
Yeah, his is Grok.
ChatGPT is OpenAI.
Yeah. I was just throwing out AI stuff.
Oh, okay.
Okay, nerds, simmer down. Simmer down.
Yeah, you brought the two worst people on here to talk about
to fact check me on some AI bullshit. Anyway.
Fact check.
Fact check. Matt's lying to you right now, but We have some amazing wings I want to talk about. First off, I'm sipping on some Red's Wicked Apple, as usual. You guys know.
Yeah, Matt didn't want to.
Seth, what you got over there?
Cayman Jack Mango.
How you like it?
We got a lot of like tropical paradise going on. It's, it's
I put up a blow up palm tree behind us. Not that there's a camera, but
it's a good compliment to the orange jam.
Orange, so they do go hand in hand nicely.
Kind of.
Yeah, and then there's snakes over here. Yeah. Man, I just tell you. Woo!
I'm on that Cayman Jack just margarita.
The OG.
Just the OG, which my wife drinks all the time.
They can give you headaches. You just have to be careful.
Oh, I know.
I get mad and start ripping leaves off trees when I have too many of those. Just letting you know.
Leaves for a second?
No, I start ripping leaves off people? No. But there's been times where Matt... I know it comes as a surprise. I may have had one too many Cayman Jacks, and when I did, I started talking to myself and Jesus while I'm pulling off leaves on trees. Yeah. But
if you guys hear me start screaming, it's because he's whipping out my weave, ripping out my weave,
whipping off,
whipping out my weave,
whipping it off. But we've got wings being prepared for us again by Chef Angelo. She is
Angela.
How you like I brought the French back?
Angela?
You like that?
Oh no!
Yeah.
You can't see it, but we're totally doing the hand movement.
What you don't know is our last episode obliterated our French audience. Yeah. We no longer have a French audience.
No,
which was growing because of the success of recent video games, but not anymore. Because
our accents
if it wasn't for us, they'd be speaking German. So
can't disagree with the guy there. That's valid point. But
that's a sneak peek at our D-Day episode.
So featuring your host, the Krafty One himself, guys. So we'll take a quick pause before we go too much in. Seth, you're the newbie here, man. How has the past 2 weeks been for you,
man? So the 2 weeks, so the last week has been I've been a little sick and stuff, so I've taken a lot of time, been working from home. Thankfully, I'm blessed with the job,
truly
with
a blessing.
The lottery, and been able to kind of get into that and kind of work from home, just answer emails and stuff like that. But we've got a new boss in town, new sheriff, so we've been working with her and just kind of digesting that. It's been a good time with the kids, the family, just taking it day by day, and we'll get into the other stuff later. But I'm loving life at this point.
Nice.
Birthday's coming up. My favorite holiday's coming up.
It's the 26th,
30th of June.
Why was I thinking 26th was your birthday?
Man.
It might have been Zach's birthday, but
no, his is October 31st.
30th,
not 31st.
Well.
31st is Halloween. That's where we all worship Satan. But
it's an everyday thing for me.
It's the 30th. Why was I thinking the 26th? Did we celebrate it one year on the 26th?
You're like,
shush your mouth. Shush your mouth.
Alzheimer's is hitting you, dude.
Old timers kicking in, y'all. But no, I think we celebrated it early one year.
Maybe that's
what it was. But for some reason, the 26th. But the 30th.
He's gonna walk out of here crying his eyes
out
tonight because he doesn't know anything about me.
But that's so that's coming up.
30th, and my favorite holiday, 4th of July, is coming up. So looking forward to that. Then we shortly after Kyrie's birthday, segue right into Gus's birthday. Then next month is Lex's birthday, so it's just kind of like
and then it's Halloween.
He's got a busy end of the year.
And don't forget my birthday. It's
coming. And then we're doing December, so it's like
speaking of doing what?
Yeah,
we're spill the beans on the podcast.
Third baby along the way.
Woo!
Third baby Campbell coming in either late December, Christmas baby type. Or early January.
So nice.
It's a girl, so
it is confirmed. 100%.
100%. Chromosomes XX.
Okay.
Blood test and everything.
Do you want to drop the name?
I don't think. Well, that's the thing. We don't have the name.
Lexi told me there was a name.
She said a name.
Well, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between Luna and Sage.
Luna, 100%.
I mean, I like Luna too.
I like both.
We can't agree on a middle name though. Because
Faye?
It's
Luna Faye. You didn't like
okay,
I smell it.
If it's Luna, Faye does sound really good with it.
And Faye also represents fairies, which Lexi's name was almost Miko Tatiana, which is the fairy princess, is what it means. But
I think she's part fairy.
I think she is.
Yeah.
But thankfully
completely detached
Matt
from
lives
reality.
in America, so he didn't name her that. But
I went with it was a Japanese and Russian name, the combination of the two, and her mom said absolutely no. What the hell are you smoking?
You did so much better with her because than Kyrie's mom. Kyrie's mom wanted to name her Saturn Eclipse.
I like with what you went
Bizarre.
with, but that's because I like Kingdom Hearts. So.
Yeah, that's where I got it from, actually.
Yeah.
The inspiration was... No, Kyrie.
Oh, the Kyrie.
Yeah, it's spelt differently. It's spelled like the basketball player, but still, it
well,
just
if you spelled it like they spell in Kingdom Hearts, everyone would be like, Carrie?
Yeah.
No.
That was exactly my thought.
But yeah, so pretty good couple of weeks. You're feeling good. You're feeling your spirits are up. Everything's going good. You got sounds like a shit ton of good stuff just rolling down the pipeline.
Man, I'm glad that I'm over the sickness. Yesterday was the first day that I started to feel like myself again. You know, having 4 days of work from home, we all know what that means. Not
a lot
really
of
doing
Netflix,
shit, but
a lot of Netflix. Yeah, it helps heal.
A lot of rest.
Yeah, a lot of lotion and tissues. Yeah,
got a lot of stuff coming up with the job. You know, I don't know if this is the appropriate place to talk about it. We got like some corporate folks coming in for some machine and different stuff. Like we're getting upgrades because we're in the middle of a contract extension and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of good stuff. Positive vibes.
That is positive.
That's awesome.
I dig all that.
That is awesome.
Well, thank you, man. That was perfect.
Yeah.
I think you were born to podcast. You got a face for podcast, man. I'm just telling you.
Man, we're just talking. 3 dudes chilling in a
Three
hot
dudes,
tub,
beer and wings.
Because
they don't know we're in a hot tub right now.
Yeah, you know, and it's not water. But Zach, you, man, how have you been?
Oh,
yeah. Last week you had some struggles, so I was checking in.
Well, I finally got back on the old Lexi Pro.
Okay, good deal.
So for those that weren't aware, I was off the Lexi Pro. I said it in the last episode,
You did.
But I wasn't meaning to be. I money struggles and everything. I don't have Medicare, so didn't have the money. Turns out my Medicare is still slightly active, so it wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be.
Nice.
So I got back on it, and I've been doing pretty good since then. Excuse me.
How dare you?
Yeah, I just destroyed everyone with burp breath. But so I've been doing pretty decent. Still doing the same old things, you know, streaming and working. I've taken not purposely, but a little bit of a break from the streaming.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of the time that I've been playing video games or streaming, it's either been Splitgate and trying to hit that really hardcore. Just because. For some reason, I'm a god at it. I was born a god at it.
You are really good at that game. I will give you credit.
Dude, like I sent you a screenshot and like everyone. I was
78
like,
kills
bro, we
or
needed
something?
to... Yeah, 78 kills in the very first game. And at first I was like, it was bots or something. And there are bots in the game. But then I figured out bots have the name bot in their name. So,
which I found out
that
they hate to cut you off, but people with bot in their name still beat the shit out of me in that game. It happens. I can't for some whatever reason. I still
died to some of the bots for sure.
Yeah, they're mad good. So
those first few games, though, you can look on the leaderboard screenshot I sent. No bots in the lobby.
And 78 kills. Have you played
Splitgate
2 yet?
No, I haven't played Splitgate, but we've played Vampire Hunt, and I just kind of. It's so hard with kids to play, find time for video games. Dude, it's just like, because I mean, I'm getting a little in the weeds again, but like my dad was never around, so like I want to be there for my kids.
Right.
So
100%.
like I prioritize them rather than play video games a lot of the time.
Give you a secret to life. Get them addicted to video games now.
Yeah.
Damn it, that's what I need to do. That's a smart idea.
Look how good Austin turned out. Woo! We got this. But so you no, but seriously, you can do that.
I saw y'all stream it.
It is
Halo,
so much
It's
fun.
Halo mixed with, I would say, like, movement of, like, maybe Black Ops / Quake.
Y'all have the, like, exo shoot, like, you can boost
yeah. There's
Gentlemen, we need to pause because the second half of the show, you guys have obviously heard the first half, but the second half, the wings are here. Oh, my Lord. Brought again by Chef Angelo and Chef Alexi. They brought them over. You like how I hit that high note, yeah? And it looks like she made some homemade ranch.
There's a cord here, just so we know. Some wings.
No, microphone's over here. You are good, so thank you. I can smell these wings already. Smells like earthworms and regret.
Lexi has perfume or something. I'm not smelling the wings.
I'm
just smelling a lot of perfume.
Have you seen me, Seth? I can put away a lot of wings.
And ranch.
And we also have... we did not mention...
The Bug Girl. Yeah, for the
we
Bug
have
Girl
the Peanut
Studios.
Gallery here in the Bug Girl Studios. We have... The usual Celeste who is with us, and we also have the Bug Girl herself, Alyssa. She is with us, sitting quietly like a meat church mouse over on her
Check her out on
sofa.
Facebook.
I thought you were just doing some like insane meal prep.
Food prep.
Yeah.
I was like,
He was like, dude, this chick knows her fitness.
Thank you.
hey, thank you.
Yes,
All
but
right.
check out.
Okay,
my
so
girl on
Angela,
Facebook,
what have we
my
got?
guys.
What's first up?
The first one is one of our favorite flavors. It's redneck lipstick spicy.
Ooh,
Redneck
lipstick spicy.
And
We got
have
forks. Oh Lord,
She
Oh,
brought
my.
3 forks.
that's my favorite. Get your hands off my
you
favorite.
have to
I have
share
2
your
now.
life, Zach.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
so everybody spear up. This is redneck lipstick spicy
Are we doing the first without ranch?
without ranch. Here we go, gentlemen. It's weird doing that, but no ranch on the first one.
What have you done?
I'm just
You're
a terrible guest.
You're all right. How is it?
That's good.
It's good.
Not too spicy. It's got kind of a spice on the end of it there.
Mm.
Celeste said she ain't even doing it. She's had
Smoky.
such issues
I feel like I
this
should
week.
put this down.
Get one without,
Get
so you
one
can-
without, yeah.
I like the smoky.
Yeah,
You
you
can
almost
definitely
Literally,
taste the
yeah, just
redneck.
out of habit.
There is a smoky taste with it.
I like
For
that.
sure. It's like a barbecue wing.
I'm gonna get some ranch on the
Please tell
second
me
one.
Is that one like the hotter one? Oh, okay.
He's trying to get that sneak peek. He's trying to
I'm
get.
patient, okay? I'm sorry. I
All right.
apologize.
Okay.
I'm having mine with the ranch
With
right
the,
now.
it's good with the ranch. I like that one standalone though. That was really good. With the
That's
ranch,
good.
what do you think? Better
Yeah,
with or
so-
without the ranch? Angel's ranch is always fire.
Angela does better wings than
Lexi
any
actually
place
helps.
we've gotten wings from.
Lexi with the help.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
I give you a high five, but I'm hands full.
Here's a high foot.
There you go. Hey,
Smoky, mesquite, barbecue
Yeah,
kind of
French
comes to
fries,
Oh,
mind.
the French fries are
Some French
have
fries.
entered the arena.
that's because we
Fresh
drink
vegetables.
alcohol on this podcast.
Okay.
For vegetables.
You want me to take
Who
that
eats
for
your
now?
vegetables?
Yeah. Let's trade off.
Next.
Here, Lexi.
Okay.
This is actually a repeat of last week because you guys
Lemon-
liked this.
Is it the Guy Fieri?
Is it Guy Fieri?
Hot honey.
Oh
my God! I love that.
So again, without any kind of ranch, guys. Here we go.
Extra ranch. Got it. Oh, whoops.
Meat up.
We gotta,
Sanchez.
we gotta mix germs, dude.
That's incredible.
It's so good, dude.
That is really good.
I
It's
like
so
that
good.
one.
Nice.
Do you like
But
that?
that is incredible.
The hot
Like,
honey?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Dude, that
dude.
is so good, dude.
It's a little spicier than last time. Did you put some? Yeah, there's red pepper flakes on there. I
You know
can.
me.
Huh?
You know me.
That's so good. Thank
little
you
something
so much.
extra on there.
Now hit it with the ranch and see how good this is, though.
Yeah. It's so good, dude. Dude, with the ranch. Oh my god, with that homemade ranch, man.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, trade them up.
Oh, my.
Wait. I have to get one more of these because these are super good.
It's so good, dude. Get you a fry, man. Cleanse the palate with a French fry that
Mhm.
doesn't cleanse the palate.
or the mango.
Those look.
Those are red.
Those look like I don't want them.
This is the one I've been waiting for.
What is this?
I can smell this from here.
What is it? Someone describe it to me. Explain it to
This
me.
is if Melinda had a baby.
Oh no, Melinda, who hates her husband.
Melinda had a
Melinda?
baby.
Melinda brought the hell to us last
Oh yeah,
episode.
you don't know about Melinda.
Oh Lord, I'm gonna go for a big one. No sauce, boys.
No sauce?
No, I mean no
I mean,
ranch.
for sure.
I'm gonna regret
Oh
this.
no, dude!
looks
Smell
so
it.
good.
Smell it first.
Oh,
I'm excited.
I hate
my mouth
that.
started watering. Here we go. Seth said, "Screw you guys. I'm going home. I'm eating the wing right now."
Okay.
That's probably my favorite one so
There's
far.
spice. There's spice.
Got some heat. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Mm.
I don't think it's as bad as Melinda.
Mm.
I don't know. It's creeping up though.
Yeah, there's something creepy.
It's creeping.
Don't worry, I'll take this one. You guys
Okay.
can kind of take the barbecue.
Hey, that
Go
was-
into your nose, out to your mouth. Hold on.
This is so. It's
It
got a
works for me.
little mild burn to it, for sure.
Got a little bit more than mild. I'm feeling the. Did I make
still-
you mad,
it's-
Angela?
It's still not as bad as last week's.
Hey,
Like,
we got you
it's
a
still not
pineapple in
spicy
the
as last
fridge,
week.
cooling off. So, yeah, not as spicy as.
Oh, you want one? You want a spicy one?
There's a little heat to that.
She's had
I'm
some
gonna
stuff.
get one extra
She's had
wet.
tummy issues for the past week or so. So yeah.
With ranch better, yeah.
Oh my goodness! But the ranch is. I gotta. Side note: I need your ranch recipe.
Yeah, dude,
Salt
it's
is the secret ingredient.
Her ranch
Yeah.
is so good, dude.
He hates ranch.
It wasn't.
I
from
hate
scratch
ranch. I
at
don't
all.
eat ranch unless it's with like a hot wing, and that's only to cool the spice down.
Don't tell me you're a blue cheese guy.
No, I don't like blue cheese. Either.
Okay, well at least you don't like blue cheese.
No, I don't
Blue
like
cheese
blue
is
cheese. I don't
disgusting.
like ranch either.
The heat on this is not too bad. It's really
It's
good.
bearable. It's not
Mhm.
gonna give me a hiccup fit
All right.
like last time.
I Probably should just dump a little extra of the...
So what are we calling the first one? Redneck lipstick? All right, we got redneck lipstick. We had the resurgence of Guy Fieri, a.k.a. looks like Zach with frosted tips. And we've got his Hot Honey, which was really good. Second round is also good.
Again, that's not the first time
and
I've
then
heard that. And I don't know whether to take that as a compliment.
The Revenge of Melinda.
The Revenge of Melinda.
She didn't quite kill her husband the first time, so she tried the second time, and this is what this is.
She failed, I think. I mean, it's spicy and it's good. It's great.
Redneck lipstick.
But spices.
Hot Honey. Down. Revenge of Melinda. So let's start with the redneck lipstick, guys. On a scale of 1 to 10 on a wing, where are we at? Seth, you're the guest. Where are you at?
Redneck lipstick, I'd give like an 8.5.
Ooh, okay.
8.5.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
Where you at? Where you sitting at?
I'm going to give those a solid 8 for me. They are really good.
Like sweet.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fan of the heat, but I like that smoky flavor. I like redneck lipstick. They don't sponsor us, obviously, but their sauce. Sorry, I'm dying. Their sauce is super fire.
I'm gonna do a 6 on them.
You're getting a 6 on those?
Yes, but again, let me rephrase this to everyone that listens. Angela's wings are the best wings I've ever had.
I agree.
But the redneck flavor, to me, the redneck lipstick flavor is just, I don't want to put it above Hot Honey because I still love Hot Honey.
Hot Honey's fire.
And it's still so good.
Okay, so we had an 8.5, we had an 8, and we had a 6.5? 6, okay. We're moving on to, we're going to revisit the return of Guy Fieri Hot Honey. Where are we at, Seth?
7 on that one.
7 on that one, okay. You're still way above average, but good.
Yeah,
okay.
It's fantastic. I like the redneck lipstick a little better.
You like the heat.
You like the heat.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The heat is everything to me.
Zach? Guy Fieri? 10.
What I did last time.
10.
Yeah. The Hot Honey's so good, dude. I wish you would just make a bunch for me just to taste.
He's like,
and I'll
hey,
just
I'm
put them in
Guy
my
Fieri.
freezer and just reheat over and over.
I've never seen you and Guy Fieri in the room at the same time. Just saying.
That's what they say.
But I would, again, I'm hitting that with a solid 9.5 on the Guy Fieri. I like the heat, and the heat it feels a little subdued.
Yeah.
These? Okay, and then the last one is the Revenge of the Melinda.
Delicious.
Now, the story of Melinda, Seth, if you don't know, she was a lovely esposa in España. She lived her life in Spain in a little cottage, and her husband was so bad to her, she made this sauce to kill him, and that's what that was. So, but it tastes good. So let's hear Seth's take on the Revenge of Melinda. What do you give her?
What, scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10.
11.
Oh, hey, this is a beer and wings first.
This is
How do we hit an 11?
delectable. It's got heat. It's
creamy.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Take away the flavor. Angela's wings, are they not the best wings you've had?
Best wings. Man, that's so hard because I love chicken wings.
Yeah.
Deer Creek for me.
Probably second best. We did have some delectable wings on our cruise that were just
fair enough. They
out of this world.
They hire crazy professional chefs.
Yeah,
for
right.
Cruises and stuff like that. Like, okay, fair enough.
They were hot and they were also very crispy. These are like loaded down with the sauce,
But they're so good.
They are. They're delectable.
Yes, that's a good word.
My big thing with a lot of wings, you go to a lot of fast food places or pizza places, wings often have like a rubbery feel. It's a texture thing for me.
Right.
And I often don't like the texture of wings. The way Angela makes them, they're just crunchy enough, but just chewy enough.
And that's because she makes them from fresh.
Yeah, she
it's
makes
not
them
some
fresh,
frozen
for sure.
chicken. Where are you at? The Revenge of Melinda. Where are you at? 1 to 10. The heat was good. This is your turn.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm probably sitting at 7 on Revenge of Melinda.
They're a little vinegary.
They're a little vinegary.
I agree.
That's not Angela's fault. That's
No,
the
that's-
sauce.
that's
I thought that
not
was
the
just the
thing.
heat talking that it was a little vinegar.
For me, I'm gonna go with Melinda. I'm gonna hit her with a solid 8.5 to a 9.
Okay.
I like the sauce this time. The heat, I liked it because it was felt like. What did you do different?
What did I do?
What did she do different on this one?
I added a little sugar to offset the vinegar because it was really gross when we first tried it.
Okay,
Really?
It was
but
gross.
I mean, as far as the heat, it seemed a little bit more intense.
Well, I added Carolina Reaper.
That's what it is. Okay, so there was a
and
little bit of.
sugar pepper flakes.
Okay. But yeah, I'm giving it, again, I'm writing that 9 mark on her. The heat this time, I liked it a little bit better. I'm going to try your...
Well,
it's Melinda!
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's
Jesus
Melinda.
Christ!
Melinda's on the Melinda.
Melinda's doubly Melinda. She's
Yeah.
killing us. But I would say that this one, the heat was a little bit better than last time. Last time it caught me off guard because it didn't smell like it was going to be as hot. Oh, man. And this time
Let me see
it
one
delivered.
of these wings. Let me try it the way you just tried it here.
Uh-oh. Zach getting brave.
We got like a Melinda's Naga Jolik.
Naga, feel your lips in a minute.
Yeah. There you, ooh.
Oh, don't drip it on my plate.
Well, that's what you put it.
Come on, I hooked you up. That's what
Right.
friends do.
Ooh. Is it spicy?
No.
I mean,
Melinda's
you
pretty
won't
spicy.
notice it right away.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Oh, what?"
But-
Spits it out.
You'll definitely feel it an hour from now when you're over
In
the
the
toilet.
bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel the spice creeping up. I'm not sure if it's the extra Melinda's there or Melinda's Revenge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one. Ooh, it's creeping up though.
I would say again, I didn't try one of those. Will you spear me one of those and hook me up with some extra Melinda? Well, I got all the pepper flakes on that one. That seems like a horrible idea.
I'm sure it's not quite like the eruption that y'all had,
Mm-mm.
but it's definitely got some heat to it, for sure.
Eruption was horrible, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I almost like it without that, but that's not. That almost cooled it off.
It's like it's extra vinegar.
That's what
almost.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like she said that it's a little vinegary, but like with this, it's
That's
almost
gonna be
extra
crunchy.
vinegar.
I don't know. No!
It's safe. It's safe.
Is it?
Yep. In a shoe.
In your shoe?
Bye, Lexi. Chef
Bye,
Lexi.
Lexi.
Chef Angelo.
Chef Lexi.
Thank you for all the wonderful wings. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I'm also, if you hear a crunch, I'm eating carrots.
To offset the spice, the heat.
That's what they do. Have you tried these fries?
I did. I tried like 3 or 4 of them earlier, but
Not crazy about them? Eat the fries.
it's
I'm
the
joking.
wings. It's the wings.
Yeah, the wings are fire.
It's beer and wings.
And fries.
Shout out.
It's a. That was perfect timing. I forgot what we were talking about just moments before
It was
that.
it's meat I was talking about.
You're weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing us
Let's
back.
see, Lexapro.
Yep.
Got back on that, feeling better. I'm sure my wife can attest to that. I'm feeling a little better. Let's see, what else? I started playing Splitgate 2.
Yeah.
We were talking about that too. Splitgate 2, so like it's like a mix between Halo,
Apex.
some old school Quake and stuff like that. With the power weapons of those kind of arena shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, those are so good, dude. Those are my favorite.
Guy
by far.
Fieri, here, take him over there.
Um,
So good. Great job, babe.
I've been feeling better. We got some family stress going on.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for prayers or thoughts or whatever. We're getting into the heat of some personal family legal stuff.
Gotcha.
Goodbye, Chef Angelo, and
Thank you.
We
and,
thank
so
you.
much.
Mwah, you're amazing. I love you.
God,
they're
but
so
mentally, I've been a little bit better.
Oh, he's some shade without the.
I say, oh no, he's a guest. He doesn't know.
This guy's
Whoops.
getting it.
But I will say, mentally, I feel like I've been a little checked out.
Mm.
And, we're going to get into some of that stuff deeper here in a minute. But, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's easier to check out and just do me for a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't know if it's a space thing or if it's just something to distract me from everything or what. It's just, I don't know. Felt a little down still, but it could be because I've been off the Lexapro for a couple weeks and I'm back on it. I don't know. We will see. But for the most part, I'd say I've been good. How about you, though, Matt? You've asked about us. How you doing, man?
Past couple of weeks have been just overcoming hurdles, man.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. We talk about we all have stresses, so I'm not one to sit here and bellyache and throw all mine, at the microphone here. But yeah, it's been a trying week, but we're overcoming. A little step at a time, and trying to keep. It goes back to my energy philosophy that we've talked about before. Is where you focus your energy is what's going to become your god, or it's going to become your kind of overtake your line of thinking. And I'm trying to focus that more on the positive as well as just cutting out crappy people. Mm-hmm. I think that's been a big... I will say that. Damn it, I'll say that. This week, last 2 weeks, I've made some conscious decisions to start looking at reciprocation a little bit more.
We talked about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or we hit some topics that were similar to
So
that.
proof that I'm not bullshitting is the fact that we did talk about it. And it's the fact that we only have my philosophy, if I'm wrong, I'll die with this philosophy, but is that we only have so much energy in this lifetime, and we choose where we spend it ultimately.
Well, scientifically, energy is finite. Energy across all space is finite.
Yeah.
That's where you get into certain topics of potential resurrection or things like that.
I'm just speaking simply in this corporeal form.
I understand that. Yeah. But just to say that there is a little bit of credibility behind the idea that we have limited energy to give.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, oh, go to sleep. It's like, no, it's not quite that simple.
No, it's really not. And I think to sum it up, as I'm done chasing people.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I get that.
Right.
I feel like for a lot of my life, I've chased a lot of people, and taking just literally. I mean, it's not something that just was birthed over the last 2 weeks, but really focusing over the last 2 weeks heavily has been plus one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 weeks has been something that for me, it's been some heavy cuts, and we could talk about this off podcast too, just brother to brother and talking stuff out. But there's been some. No. We are not going to restart Windows
PC right now. There's installs that need to be updated.
Windows, you're not that important. See, I'm not devoting energy to Windows.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Some tough cuts that I've actually made over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I won't say bad. I won't say good. Mm-hmm. Tying into the realism that I try to exist in, it's been real this past 2 weeks for me.
It's been real.
Had some one-on-one time with God. Seth came out and helped me tear up some bunch of stuff in the yard, yeah. Man. We've got a forest out here.
Thank goodness for that. We're on the subject of men's mental health.
Yeah.
That is like prime way to get frustration, rage, anger, anything out. When we're out there with the axe going at those, even those ones that are wet and kind of
thick, super dense logs, bro. Go take a couple of whacks. You'll see what we're talking about.
I know for sure.
Well, let's give it with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Small shake. All right.
When I grew up country house out in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have heat. We had to use fires or wood stove. So, 100%. I grew up cutting wood. There is something almost magical to the feeling of having a stressful week or whatever, and you come home after school, for me, but after work or whatever, and you have nothing else mentally. Yeah. Just nothing else. It's just, I've got to split this wood. I've got to cut this wood. And it's also, I don't know, I almost feel like healing in a way because you're sitting there thinking you're thinking of the positive for your family.
Yeah.
Got to cut wood because they need fire, they need heat.
Yep.
Especially growing up poor like that, it was, I'm not cutting this wood for fun. I'm cutting this wood because the parents, the brother, cousins, whoever, need heat for the night. It's cold.
Yeah.
I've got to split this wood for them.
So purpose.
Yes, it gives you purpose, and I think and I'm sure we'll dive deeper into it, but I think that's a big thing that helps men mentally is purpose.
Yeah, purpose. There's a book. It's called A Purpose-Driven Life. But literally, not taking anything from that book, but just in general as men, speaking as a man, it's one of those things that, yes, when you feel like you have a purpose, when you feel like you're not dead weight, you're not, anything else, you suddenly feel like you have, hey, there's something that Matt brings or Zach brings or Seth brings to this party that nobody else is bringing. It's me. It is my responsibility, and this is my purpose. I'm doing this. There is a sense of self-worth. I think it's a really good word. There's also a piece of accomplishment, maybe. Mm-hmm. That, hey, I did something, And wow, maybe they're not saying thank you, but I can tell they appreciate it, It's that kind of thing. I think
especially with something as simple as cutting wood. When you see people
You say simple, but if you listeners have not been out there swinging a heavy-ass axe, and that's hard to say.
The feeling is simplistic, at least, because it's like you've got like a family gathered around the wood stove, and you're all watching something, or just reminiscing over stuff. Everyone's kind of around this warmth.
Yeah.
You know, like no one has to say anything, but you feel it because everyone is comfortable in that setting.
And you brought it.
Yeah, and you know that, like, if I wouldn't have done this, we'd be suffering right now. Yeah. Like, the fact that I did this, we are all here gathered as family doing the thing together.
Yep.
You know?
And it could be firewood. It could be money in the bank account. It could be whatever. You know, we talk about primitive men. Ungawa. I go out and I kill the saber-toothed tiger and I feed my family tonight. Or it could be, hey, I went to work every day this week and I supported my family. Not to say that women don't, but in men, as far as the way our minds work, it is our society changes.
Yeah.
Our programming doesn't. The way we are is we are providers. And
let me hit on that for a second.
Yeah,
so a lot of the idea behind, from what I understand, and I did a little bit of research going into this and everything. A little bit of the idea that why men, at least to me, from what I understand, why men aren't as valued, I would say nowadays, is because there were ages and ages that men were valued. You know, where I don't
maybe
not
overly valued
mentally,
yeah,
but overly valued maybe, because for a long time it was only men that had rights, or only men that could do this, or only men that could do that.
Correct.
And that was just
simple
understood.
Times, guys. I'm joking. Go ahead.
It was just understood as a thing that happens.
Yeah.
And then we've started. You know, now we live in this more progressive culture where, understandably so, things are getting to a more equitable state.
Yeah.
Is it complete equity? You know, that's up for debate politically or whatever, but either way, it's to a more equitable state than it was. However, with that comes the progression and, this more superior mindset of, we've been, for different people, genders or this or that, that have been put down for a long time. Sometimes reasonably so, sometimes not. And it comes with this mindset of like, now is our time to, think that. But with that comes the putting down of whoever was up there before.
The head honcho.
Yeah, which was males before. And, we walk into this area where it's like, okay, we're worrying about everyone so much to the point that those people now that we're putting down, you've got to check on them. And that's where the males are at this point. Is like everyone else is so high that it's now we're putting the males down. Sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not.
Well, I think it really depends on how you look at it. And Seth, it looked like you were chewing on a thought over there too. So I think society, as it is now, there's all kinds of terms, cisgender, whatever else they want to say. So if you look at just a man in this society, your feelings largely don't matter. And sadly, I see that a lot because I've come to a point where I'm finally okay with admitting I have emotion towards things. I feel this, I feel that.
And that is big for you because you are older than us.
And for a long time, I bottled it vastly older.
Vastly.
But I bottled it up for a long time, and through previous relationships and just, my journey as just a man in this society, you're virtually told consistently to suck it up. Nobody gives a crap.
Yeah.
You go to work. You're a man. You're constantly shut down.
For sure.
And it's one of those things that where I'm at, and I've told you guys in the podcast before, I'm 47, I'm heading towards 50, and it's one of those things where I look back and it's like how many times in my life for my own mental health had I had a shoulder to lean on or an ear to listen, and I could have voiced some of the things I was going through. How much different, I won't say better, but how much different could I be right now in the shoes that I'm in? Where I'm sitting right now, could I be a different person? Absolutely. I firmly believe. Maybe not better, but different, had I had some kind of support. and it wasn't a thing back then. And I feel like it's super important as men, for men to understand, hey, dude, your mental health is important. Where you're at in life is important. You are important, period.
Or where you came from.
Where you came from, what you've been through, where you're going. All of that is important. And it constantly gets squelched.
Yeah.
Consistently. I won't say constantly, but consistently gets squelched in society. Because, dude, there are a lot of other voices that are screaming. And they deserve stage time. They absolutely deserve to be heard. But when
every human in existence deserves their.
I don't care
time.
if you're whatever you are, whatever race, gender, whatever. It does not matter. Religious, whatever you've got, you deserve to be heard. You deserve, your peace, your little space in this universe of being who you are. I firmly believe that. I think largely, if you look at men's health, like a lot of people don't even know that June is Men's Health Month.
No.
Because what overshadows it?
Pride Month.
Well, you got Pride Month. You have there's a lot of other little things that pop up in June that are
Juneteenth coming up Thursday.
Yeah, June 19th. Yeah, absolutely.
It's also the middle of the year where I feel like they just throw a bunch of stuff.
But then it's overshadowing. Like you kind of called out earlier. Hey, 4th of July is coming up, and this. So there's an entire month that is. I don't know who, and you can Google that if you don't mind, Zach, who decided that June was going to be Men's Health Month. Because I feel like, bro, it's a blip on the radar. It absolutely gets overshadowed.
Senator Bob Dole of Kansas.
Oh, good old Bob Dole. Bob Dole, if you're here, raise your hand. Oh, sorry.
Signed into law by President Bill Clinton.
Shout out to Bob Dole for looking out for men. I get what you're saying, that it's kind of overshadowed and everything, and I couldn't agree more. But yeah, shout out. At least we have something,
something, and someone to say. And understand, guys, if you don't know me, and if you do know me, this is not coming from a place where I'm trying to cast shade on anything or anyone else. It's coming from a place of going, hey, I've got a voice that's not heard.
Yeah,
and I say that legitimately. I have past relationships where I've brought things up and I'm like, and I'm told, suck it up. I have literally been told that, to suck it up because I felt something.
It's so natural though, because us as humans, down to our base core, we are at heart a storytelling species.
Yeah.
You look at like all throughout history, we love to talk. We love to tell stories. We love to tell...
Because we can.
Yeah, exactly. But like at the fundamental, looking at everything from a whole, you want to come home and talk about your day. You want to come home and
there's something cathartic about it for
Yes.
sure, to come home and talk about your day. Like even before I was in the relationship I'm in right now, I would call you like after my day was over doing electrical, or text the group chat or whatever and be like, just say my piece or whatever. Like, man, today, this happened or whatever. This was crazy. And it's just almost a natural instinct to want to almost offload. Not purposely. Not like anyone's going out of their way to purposely, like, hey, here's my trauma. Here you go. Like, because we talk about, like, modern age and trauma dumping and stuff. And a lot of people hate that. But it's like, we're all humans and we need to do that.
Yeah, well,
it's therapeutic.
Yes,
and
both of you, I agree.
Is expensive.
Well, you wouldn't need therapy if we could do this more.
Right.
And that's we talk about beer and wings. We talk about, from the very first episode, we talk about bringing back the art of conversation. People just having literally we're three dudes sitting around a table, eating wings, drinking beer, and just talking.
Or Cayman's Jack.
Or Cayman's Jack. Thank you. Shout out to my mom, actually. Huge fan of the podcast. Huge. She listens to it when she goes to sleep. She said, Matt, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to hear me out. And I said, what's that, Mom?
You're listening
to... as I was saying, Mother comes to me and says, my son, I love you. She doesn't sound like that. She sounds more like Deckard Cain when she talks. She's like,
oh, whoa,
Matthew. But no, we hung out the other day, and I didn't get to bring that up. I had a wonderful day out. I had a date night with Angela. and then I got to hang out with my mom and my wife all in one day. And my
mom,
I've learned, she does not like Blue Moon. My mom doesn't drink.
I love
period.
Blue Moon, dude.
But Angela bought some dragon fruit sensei masterful drink over here, and I was like, I'll take a Blue Moon. So they give me my Blue Moon. That's the only thing decent they had on tap. And I was like, okay. My mom wanted to try Angela's, and she was like, oh, it's not bad. And she tried mine. My mom dry heaved at the table, like literally.
Oh my gosh!
She was like,
Blue Moon is excellent in my opinion.
I love Blue Moon, dude.
Yeah,
I'm glad I didn't order anything else, or there would have been puke on the table.
Yeah,
but she was like, I hate beer, and she went on the whole thing. But
it's not even beer; it's like ale, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
But I'm not trash talking her lack of love for beer, because she loved us enough that she bought us beers or drinks for the show. She hooked us up with some Cayman Jack. Okay. So, Mom, we love you. We thank you. If you're listening, everybody here is high-fiving you through the
shout out.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the other word loudly from earlier. But, not for Mom. It's not appropriate. But, but thank you, Mom, for that and being a part of the podcast and a big fan of the podcast. Yeah. It means a lot to your son. Just letting you know. And the guys here, we definitely appreciate you. I feel like we should shift gears just a little bit. So, Seth, a little bit. I'm glad, that you're here, but I'm also glad that you're here. And the reason I'm glad you're here is because something that we don't have experience with as men, that you do, if you're comfortable doing it, I'd like you to kind of enlighten us a little bit. So, Seth, as you guys know, and thank you for your service, Seth is a veteran of the military. So I want to give him a shout out for that first off. But second off, I want to give him the floor. And just let him kind of talk about some of the things you've experienced and things you've been through and give us that perspective as well.
So, I mean, kind of start from the beginning of it. I joined with the sense of, purpose to serve and give back to a country, as my father was in the Navy. And, he did, some time, quite a bit. He only did one contract, so I think it was like 6 years. Or maybe 2 contracts, because the active duty has 3-year contracts, but it may have been different back then. Not sure. 6 years total.
Gotcha.
But I just wanted to give back and serve and really give that. All throughout the time that I was going to school, I learned about the Constitution, U.S. history, and all this other stuff, and I was just like, you know what, this sounds like exactly something I should be doing with my life. And when I got in and everything, it was a lot of training, get up to a point where we're about to deploy, go to schools and stuff like that.
Right.
Go to deploy. We're going to Africa. And fortunately for me, I didn't know it at the time, but I was training with Alpha Company the whole time for 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden I got changed to Bravo Company, last minute. We're talking a week before we're on the bird to go overseas.
Right.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, this kind of
is to Africa?
Right, yeah. Okay. And I was just like, damn, I got to know all these guys from Alpha Company, and now all of a sudden, I'm shipping off with a brand new company that I don't know anybody because I volunteered for this deployment.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't deploying with the unit that I was originally attached to. I just filled the slot. And so, I get attached to this Bravo company. Man, these guys were incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't ask for better brothers. I mean, they literally had my back through and through throughout the entire experience. And, we came home, no casualties, nothing like that at all. So it was just an experience, man. We went over there for a year. We started out in Kenya, where we were supposed to be stationed the whole time. And of course, things always change in the military. You got to be flexible.
Right.
We went to 6 different countries at the end of it.
Not just Kenya. Okay.
Not just Kenya. We
right.
went to
Kenya and 5 friends. I got you.
And Kenya plus some.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane.
Can you tell me where you went?
Yeah,
Sorry,
so we went
Kenya
to
joke. I'll stop.
Kenya, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Uganda, Somalia, and we went to Germany too, but that doesn't count because we didn't stay the night. Djibouti, that was the 6th one.
Wow.
And it was just, man, we were in Djibouti for 3 days, then we got pulled to Kenya, stayed there for about 2 months, and then we went to back to Djibouti, and then to Uganda to go to South Sudan, And then from South Sudan to Central African Republic, we were there for about 2 months, and then we pulled all the base out, which we had I can get into this a little bit later, but we had a scare almost there, where basically we were pulling out. We were pulling all the major equipment out of there, but all the tents and stuff like that, the sandbags, everything else that was kind of whatever, like not very valuable to the U.S. military. Yeah, exactly. And we gave all that to the local villagers, even so much as like school supplies, like pencils, crayons, etc.
That's cool.
And when the local villagers heard that we were giving stuff away, it was kind of like, oh, let's go swarm the gate. Let's get everything, because whatever. But so we had like 150, 200 people show up at the front gate.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was, me and Buttrey are on gate guard duty, and so it was like, what the heck is going on? But we panned all that out. We handled it like professionals. We talked to our company commander, and everything panned itself out. But
cool.
From there, we went back to Djibouti, or back to Uganda, and back to Djibouti, and then we went to Somalia, where not so fun. And a lot of, like, throughout this entire time, there's like things that us as Americans, like, we don't really go out. America's so big, so we don't go outside of America that often.
Right. And
like, when you go to another country, another continent, whatever,
it's culture shock.
100%. Like, when you're doing something as simply driving down a road, for there it's all dirt road. There's nothing concrete. There's no highways. There's no interstate. There's no like, all their houses are not made of brick and wood and
siding,
whatever. It's mud huts. Their children are walking around like God created them, butt naked. Yeah.
Playing in like the dirt.
Yeah. And they find like it's almost simple, man. Like, you had people working on the road that made like $1 a day from the United States government to work on the road. Or you had people like the kids that were running around playing with one single ball, and playing soccer. Or, like, it's amazing when you see the culture shock. Everybody in the village drew from one singular well. Right. Which you had like they're equivalent to homeless people over there. When we were on a water mission, dude just took a dive into the well, butt naked and all. I mean, like, and like, took a bath in that thing, and it's like,
while
well, that's
people
where
are drinking
people get their, exactly. Yeah. It's like, dude, can you not think of everybody around you? But
good old Fermunda flavor, it's delicious.
Fermunda cheese,
Fermunda water,
butt juice and everything.
Yeah, man, heck yeah.
But there was so many things that I learned while I was over there, not only about like just kind of tactics and everything like that from a military perspective, but a lot about myself.
Yeah.
I mean, getting over to there where there's no, like, something as simple as this, where there's no light pollution, there's no street lights that come on at night. Right. So when at night, dude, you can see the Milky Way. You can see the entire star system. You just look up at night and it's just beautiful. Right. And it's like, like, words cannot put in, like, and express some of the things that I saw over there.
Yeah.
Not from a culture perspective, from just being on Earth and looking up at the stars and whatnot. But also, like, I mean, there were things over there that I saw that definitely cannot be repeated.
Yeah.
Because crappy stuff. There's some Call of Duty stuff. I mean, I'll talk to this. There were some SEALs with, like, really Call of Duty-esque stuff. I mean, like, we had like a 4-wheeler mounted with a 50 cal.
Wow.
It's super sick. I'm not going to lie.
I was like, now that was my favorite part.
Yeah. Tip the 4-wheeler over when you shot it.
And they would do such cool stuff. Like, we really were just there to do FOB security and stuff like that. But, like, those guys would go out at night and just to practice for their real-life missions, they would do, like, hunting. Because the wildlife over there is insane.
Yeah.
So they would hunt boars, cats, etc. And so, like, we had the cool high-powered stuff. We had, like, a little camera that had 360 view of the base and whatnot. And we'd fire a laser, and they'd have their MVGs on it, pitch black at night, no moon, whatever. And we'd fire a laser at a thing, and they would just light up a boar, and they'd bring it back. And they would. The thing that was so cool is that, like, everything on our base was processed stuff. I mean, it was just like shipped. There was nothing that we got from the local village or anything like that because it's hard to trust that sort of thing. But,
right. Yeah. Oh, it makes sense.
But like, you'd light up a boar and they'd cook boar for the night and they'd cook it for everybody. And it'd just be like kind of sick to, eat this sort of like stuff
gives
that
you a primal feeling.
Exactly.
An instinctual like pride.
No, for sure.
Kill a boar.
Yeah.
You eat boar. There's something manly about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and like, man, there was things that we saw over there that just were whatever, and there were things that saw that kind of changed my life forever. And I can't speak to it enough, man. I wish I had my GoPro videos that I had. My laptop got corrupted, but I sold my GoPro right before I left to somebody else that was taking over for our spot. And I was like, I kept everything on the hard drive for my computer, and then my computer got corrupted. So I don't have any of my videos.
Dang.
Well, do you still have the computer?
No, he sold it.
No, I sold the computer.
Oh, the computer. Oh.
I mean, it was broken, so I just kind of did whatever.
Sure,
somebody gave me $50, and I was like, I mean, whatever, man.
Shadow
if you can get it back up,
volumes.
if you can get it back up, man, good luck. Otherwise, you're going to have to factory reset it. And also, Kyrie broke the screen. She stepped on it, so it was like down bad. I wish I would have ripped the hard drive speaking to it now, but
for sure,
whatever.
But hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah,
it always will be.
It's also sick though to get that input from something that we haven't lived.
Yeah, dude.
Or
for
so
sure.
I tried to go into the army or whatever, and then they found out I was depressed or whatever, and they were like, no, never mind. But that's super sick though that we get that input.
A whole line of thought. And what would you say your experience, just tying back into the episode as far as the mental health thing? And if you at any point you don't feel comfortable speaking about, then don't, and that's fine. But would you feel like there were parts of your experience that were detrimental to your mental health?
100%.
100%?
Yeah. There's definitely some things that I don't feel comfortable sharing on the podcast for sure.
That's understandable.
Like, things that happen that like I'll give you a little insight. There were like we're 2-3 weeks away from going home,
mm-hmm.
and like we're getting calls from CIA, FBI, etc., Department of Homeland Security. Right. We're getting intel every day.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, this base, we're going to kind of expand it. We're the people that are going to come replace you. We're going to like. You guys are just a platoon of people. We're going to expand and make it like a whole company.
Right.
And for that, we need gravel. We need more, rocks laid down so we can add more tents, etc. That sort of stuff. But all the while, FBI, CIA, and all them are like, hey, just to let you guys know, there's some chatter around that you guys are going to hit with a VBID, which is a vehicle-borne IED.
Oh, well, nice.
So it's like...
So the whole time you have this in the back of your head, like, we have to do this, we have to do work to prepare the next people to come replace us, but we also have to be on the lookout for a potential threat.
Yeah,
to our lives.
That gravel is contracted out with the local villages. So it's like, if you want to...
So gravel could be the bad
exactly.
news.
So it's like, the thing that was so funny, it was like again, I get kind of caught up, but the MARSOC guys that were there, are talking to like our SOP, our standard operating procedure is this vehicle sits here for 3 days. And then after that, our dogs hit it, then they can come inside.
Wow.
The company commander, or the base commander was like, we need this stuff like ASAP. They're coming in when they get here.
Yeah.
It's like, when you hear stuff like that, it's like,
yeah, you have these contradicting orders and stuff.
Why am I throwing caution to the wind? Hold on.
Crap can hit the fan. And we're coming off a night shift, so I go to bed and I'm like, well, I could probably, wake up to chaos.
To war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But luckily, none of that ever happened. God be good.
Yeah, for sure. That's, man.
And like they laid the gravel, everything went over smooth. And it was crazy because like Kenya, what I was talking about earlier, 2 weeks after we left, Kenya got hit.
Right.
Somalia, like a month after, got hit. It was
2
like,
weeks.
It wasn't super long ago that I remember reading about how Kenya started to do like a hunt, like basically like military or anything for anyone that was light skinned.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know that was going on in South Africa.
Yeah.
Dude, I can tell you firsthand, those Kenyans over there were, we'll just say, they were very not
colorblind.
Well, like, they were not, like, gung-ho.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. And I don't want to be
too graphic. They weren't super accepting.
Yeah, well, no, they were cool with us. Yeah. They didn't mind, but they were like... So, I'll give you an example. The reason we left Kenya in the first place, we were supposed to be there the whole time.
Yeah.
The Kenyans, or the United States decided, like, hey, we're going to pull you guys out because you're needed elsewhere, and they gave the base to the Air Force at the time. So their security, their SF. Mm-hmm. Most people would think special forces, but they're just security forces. So they're like basically equivalent of infantry.
Right.
Took over that base. And they called us back 2 months later and were like, we guys need you. There's a serious political election going on, and there's talks of riots, and there's talk of Al-Shabaab, the terrorist organization over there, invading our base.
Oh, wow.
So we went back to Kenya for a short tenure, and the Kenyans so our base was central, and then like the Kenyans surrounded it.
Yeah.
They abandoned their post. They were scared of Al-Shabaab.
They left you to the wolves, literally.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
I mean, like, I didn't even get into it, but, like, we had, like, something cool, like a lion getting stuck in our fence line.
Yeah.
Over there, you, like, our equivalent to murder. You know, get life in prison, death penalty, something like that. It's the same for lions over there. Like, it is, to a degree, like, if you kill a lion, like, you will be put to death.
Wow.
Something like ludicrous like that.
So you have to walk a line of like, we got to get this lion out of here that wants to kill us.
Yeah.
And wants to eat us, but also we can't kill it because if we do, we've got a political issue here.
So we drew straws and was like, hey man, you pulled the lowest straw, man. You got to go pull that lion out.
You don't smell like lion meat. I think you're the guy.
I don't think you smell like salmon today, so I think he won't kill you, but...
No, that's Seth, thank you for sharing just a different perspective. For me, it's just a little bit like when you were for me. I'll just dive back a second when you were talking about like light pollution alone. That put my whole mind going, holy crap, because your eyeballs
we
got to see something. I mean, I live in the country, but not the country.
We still have light.
There's still light bleed in the sky
that affects everything, whether or not. You can live in Montana. It's still not going to be the same as staying somewhere like Kenya or something. Yeah.
Djibouti. I'm sorry. I held my stuff together and I did not laugh about Djibouti the whole time.
All of that. You know, honestly, Somalia was the only place that didn't have light pollution. Really? We had one central light that was bright enough to cover the base. Yeah. But like, if you were like walking from the command post to like over to where the tents are, you got off the light track. Yeah. But still, even with that light, you could see so much more. But once you got to like a certain spot, you could like legit put your back on the fence with the light to your back and look up, and it's just insane. You could see Mogadishu, the place where they shot, or Black Hawk Down was originated from. You could see that 40, I think it was 42 miles away from where we were stationed. You could see that the lights from that city from where we were at, crazy. Clear as day.
42 miles away. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. Yeah. See, that blows my mind. And,
remember, the only thing that keeps the eye from seeing distances like that is either light pollution or curvature of the earth or whatever.
Which
if you believe that.
If you believe in that crazy curved earth.
Oh, boy.
The earth is flat, right?
I mean, as a matter of flat, it is.
That's where Matt's at. But.
No, I'm not saying the earth is flat. I would never say that. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Because
you're informed.
Well, you have just as many. That's my thing. I cannot stand, and I know we're deviating, don't we always? But you have people. Well, science has said the Earth is curved at this degree, blah blah. But you also, and they ignore and silence the fact there is a group of scientists, not one guy going, "Oh, I got an idea." It's a whole group of people, a school of science that goes, "No, the Earth is flat." We're talking a group of scientists, people who get paid to go to school. And I didn't do either. Yeah, I didn't go to school. I didn't pay for it, so it worked out well. But they have these people that are learned scholars on both sides of the scale. These going, well, the Earth's curved, and this is the universe. But these other people who paid just as much went to just as prestigious schools going,
My
shit's flat.
My big thing is I would say the amount of scientists on one side quite outweigh the other amount.
Drink your Kool-Aid.
Well, that's
Come
fine.
on.
I'll drink my Kool-Aid, but
you got to think. Sure, we've got scientists on either side of it. If you take your telescope from Earth, not even like the guys that have been up to space and can see Earth from whatever, or if you're in a plane going at 38,000 feet, you can almost see the curvature of the Earth, whatever. If you take your telescope and point it anywhere in the universe, everything's a sphere. Everything. So why would Earth be different? Oh, because it's the only thing that inhabits life? No, we know that life's all over the galaxy.
Firmly agree. Life is beyond just what's on Earth.
100%.
100%. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I 100% believe there's more life and intelligent life.
It's a lot more
than
likely that if there's life here, that there's life other places.
Odds would have it.
Yeah, I would say just sheer math, the probability of just life being here is impossible.
It's not possible.
We live in a galaxy where we all rely on the sun. That's one star. Some people think sun, but it's a star at the end of the day.
And it's not even the brightest of the stars.
There is, for every grain of sand on Earth, there is a star in the universe.
Think about that.
It is not even, every grain of sand doesn't even come close to what's in the universe.
Go to one beach. What? I don't care if it's your local lake beach.
So if the sun is hitting that beach, is it the sun of a beach? I'm just curious. Oh, sorry. But yeah, but no, seriously, I agree with you on that. But my thing is, there is interesting, and you know me, we talk about knowledge goblins, and they go and they find their knowledge bits. And the piece that gets me is the fact that you have people who have paid way more money than I'll ever make in my lifetime and have gone to school, and they talk about this flat earth and a firmament and this bubble, basically. So there are these things, the sun, the moon, there's all this stuff that exists beyond us, right? But as far as Earth, it's flat, and there's a bubble.
There's also a lot of crazy people that go to school too, and
I agree,
don't come up with anything valuable.
But these guys came up with something, and they are crazy. But I segued. So talking about mental health, we talk about men's health in general. I wanted to hit on a topic it's maybe a little sensitive, but I want to hit on a topic because culturally it has become the norm, and it's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot
with talk of mental health.
With talk of mental health specifically. There's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, and I feel like it gets misappropriated because there's people that deserve the title. They really do. They exude the behaviors, and they deserve the title, and they exist. But they're not... I feel like it loses value, perhaps, because it gets thrown around so much.
Any word that gets thrown around too much loses value.
100%. I agree with you. The term I'm referencing is the word narcissism. So to be clear, I believe that all humans, and I've gone through counseling, I've gone through therapy, I've gone through, my own personal studies and adventures through this. There's a phrase, narcissism. A person who is 100% with that trait is known as a narcissist. And I give warning for the chance that you come upon a true narcissist. Brace. They cannot change. It is a personality disorder. They are incapable of changing. They're incapable of seeing anything any bit differently. We're going to pause right here on the narcissistic side as we all take a slanche of a shot.
What Matt's trying to get at is, Zach, you're a narcissist.
So what did you serve us here, Angela? What is this?
That is water.
Why?
Hell yeah.
That is not
hydrating, looking out for us.
Jesus came by. Jesus did another miracle.
Let me smell it real quick.
Patron liqueur for the fathers.
Slanche.
And
speaking of which,
shout out.
Hey, we'll pause, guys. So I am amongst two wonderful men here, both of which are fathers, and both of you guys have been through shit. You've been through hell just for being a father.
A little bit, here and there.
Enough.
Yeah. Well, he's a veteran, so
he's
been through some more.
The fact is guys, as fathers, I salute you. Thank you, guys. I love you guys, and I appreciate you being and willing to be fathers in a society where it's really easy to give up. It's
it's almost that it would be simpler sometimes.
It would be simpler.
It would be simpler.
Let me write off my rights. I don't want this child.
Raising kids is hard.
Michael Jackson had it figured out. This kid is not my son, and he moonwalked away, the little bastard. But no, the point is, happy Father's Day to you guys, because you are happy and you are fathers, and I love you guys for that. So, slanché and ihir ul,
Salute.
prost, salute, let's do the things. Happy Father's Day, fellas. And if you get a chaser, we're going to talk more about what it is to be a man.
What it is, big man.
I'm just joking. But, thank you, my dear. She said, there's yours.
Chef Angelou.
Chef Angelou, broti, the yummy tequila. Yeah.
We're doing Italian hands. That's French.
The French have hands like this, too. They're little crab people.
Yeah.
We're going to lose the rest of the French audience as we make one. I am but a crab. Here I go. But
we're talking about narcissism.
Yes, narcissism, to be serious.
The reason I will say the reason this ties into mental health is, the effect of a narcissist on a person, male, female, anyone. The effect of a narcissist can be exponential.
Absolutely.
On someone's mental health. It's overused for sure. We were talking about it being overused, and 100% it is, because it's the effect of a narcissist can have
it never stops.
The effects of a narcissistic person on a person's mental health just doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
And people nowadays like to throw it around. We're like, oh, they're narcissistic. This is narcissistic. These are signs of narcissism. And you pointed out something great before the podcast, and something just now on the podcast. Which is the fact that it's an overused label for something that everyone can experience or everyone can do.
Well, every human has, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because I feel like got a little sidetracked with the shot there. But every human, it's impossible for a human to not exude some narcissistic.
Humans have confidence.
Yeah.
Humans have ego. Ego goes to Latin. Latin means I.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we all have some sense of I.
So,
some sense of myself.
So with that, you have some self-serving piece of yourself that is a narcissistic trait. It does not mean you are a narcissist.
No.
I won't go into details on a podcast, but I will say I have been in a narcissistic relationship, or in a relationship with a true narcissist.
Yeah.
The damage that is done, it doesn't go away.
You're still affected by it
today.
We talk about it frequently. Frequently enough.
It never goes away.
Your tendencies and everything.
Yeah.
The way you conduct yourself, because you are so damn afraid of breaking one of the eggshells you're walking on. Yeah. And all the while, and this is the toxic nature and the vampire nature, or the vampirism of a narcissist, is the fact that they know. I don't believe they consciously know. I don't believe that, because
I do, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah,
a narcissist, it is their personality. They can't. It's just like, me and you. If I were to sit here and pinch your nipple and tweak it real hard, you would react a certain way, right? That's your nature. That's what you're going to do. But it doesn't.
Are you offering?
Maybe we would go for French. Maybe, I don't know, but the rest of and all the French just left. But
there they go.
It's the fact that it's a reaction. It's how they're wired, and that's the way a narcissist exists. Is the fact that I don't blame them. It's just who they are. I'm not going, oh, you chose this path. No, maybe they were crafted that way. It formed them to be that way and be wired that way. That's how they are. When you go through as not a narcissist, perhaps myself maybe being a little bit more of an empath, and I'm going, I'm a prime target. And to be preyed upon by a narcissist.
Yeah, any empathy-driven person is the target.
You become a battery.
Yeah,
I was literally just thinking that as an empath, you're a battery.
I am
for everybody to draw on.
Yeah,
my counselor or therapist.
Everybody
that wasn't my counselor. That was my therapist.
Narcissist.
That was like, you are nothing, and I'm not naming names. I'm not doxing anybody. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying this out there for public knowledge, because I feel like there's a lot of people that get categorized as being a narcissist, and they're
Especially
truly not. One of the biggest terms I hear a lot is, "Oh, you're gaslighting me." Mm-hmm. No, bro. Gaslighting is a tactic that narcissists do.
And I also want to stop you real quick just to say that. When I was going to therapy a lot, I was coming from a marriage where I was gaslit to believe that everything was my fault, everything entirely, blah blah blah. And I was going to the therapist because I'm like, hey, I'm a piece of crap, you know, apparently, and I'm like, hey, you know. And the therapist, you know, he was like, okay, well, you know, therapists, God bless them, they're not going to judge you most of the time. You know, they're going to be like, okay, well, you know, you're a piece of crap. You say you're a piece of crap. Let's see about that.
Let's dive into that.
Yeah, what makes you a piece of crap, this, that. But a lot of, you know, what comes out of that is like my conversation with my therapist, I'm 100% willing to share, was 100%. I was like, hey, am I a narcissist? Because this is something that has been brought up to me about gaslighting, about this and that, and things that people have told me that I've been led to believe that I am a narcissistic person. Is this true? And my therapist was like, well, first thing I'll tell you is never have I encountered a narcissist that's worried if they're a narcissist.
There you go.
But he's like, also, and he also, you know, he did say that I am, you know, he's encountered, especially in recent years, that, and man, I should reach out to him because I'd love to have him on the podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Talk about some statistics and stuff. But he's talked about how people are willing to, people throw those terms around. People, like, because we are becoming a more progressive culture around mental health, which is great. But with that, with progression on any topic, comes an overcorrection. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Are you having fun yet, Seth?
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, with any progression comes an overcorrection. Like,
yeah.
Okay, we've done this to these people, or we've done this to this mindset or whatever, and we need to correct on it, which usually is
there's some right, fact.
Yeah, which
there
is usually the right choice of action. Right. But with it comes people learning, education. And then people want to apply that to everything. Everything. Oh, I had one bad relationship in high school.
Narcissist.
Yeah, narcissist.
Narcissist.
Like my last boyfriend didn't want to do this or whatever, or talk me into this, or a girlfriend or whatever. Narcissist, gaslighting, you know. And this,
I don't like how you keep bringing up your boyfriend on the show, but I forgive you for bringing him up.
He does watch High School Musical.
Shout out to my boyfriend. I love you and I miss you so much. I will leave my wife for my boyfriend. But
how's Dance Moms going for you?
It's going good, dude.
Okay, just
Abby's
checking.
a piece of crap. Talk about narcissism. But anyways, so it's just, we live in a culture that does that, though. Overcorrects on everything.
We do. And that's like, oh, man, I feel like we could hit on a bunch of topics because I feel like we're right on the cusp. But like, now I'm going to draw back. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose audience yet.
Yeah, let's go back to Abby.
Yeah. But the thing is for me, so I will explain to you what gaslighting is. By definition. And you can fact check. Oh, hold on. We're going to, a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Slanche.
What is this?
That's your Faja looking out for you.
You know?
Yeah, dude. Okay. Thank you, man.
This is the last one. Just
no, there's a few more over there. So, but
I'll pull up the definition as you.
So, what gaslighting is essentially is changing your, or an attempt on changing reality. It's an attempt on changing what actually occurred. So. That's like, I've still got a swig in this. Thank you. Seth is the guest, so Seth is the BB, which means the better boy.
The better boy.
He is stepping and fetching for us tonight. So
hey, well, you're keeping me
hydrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I care about your thirsty,
H2O. This podcast is all about health.
I'm just a water boy. I'm gross. Hey,
that's some high quality H2O.
Make sure you keep yourself hydrated over there, boys. I'd even do the Adam Sandler fingers. Y'all couldn't see it, but it happened. So gaslighting is essentially getting inside somebody's head and making them believe something happened differently than what their own recollection, their own reality told them happened. You're messing with their head to the point that they start questioning their own sanity.
Right.
And you start I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. Well, I was just going to interject in there. So by definition, you're pretty close.
I've been through it.
Yeah, manipulate someone using psychological methods into questioning their own sanity and powers of reasoning. Yeah,
so they start second-guessing everything. I tell you guys this, full disclosure and transparency, as much as I'm going to be transparent on a public podcast, there were nights...
This isn't public, this is private. They pay on Patreon for this.
Yeah, no they don't, but unfortunately. But we do need to dive into our sponsor here in a little bit. But there were nights when the whole house felt quiet. I would go out on my back porch and I would call my sister. And I would say, hey, sister. Not going to say her name. Am I this? Am I that? Mm-hmm. Did I do this? You were there. Mm-hmm. And she would tell me, no, I was there. That never happened. And you'd think that would be helpful, but it wasn't. Because the one person...
Like me questioning to my therapist, am I a narcissist?
Yeah.
Because I'm being told I am.
The one person in that time in my life that I should have been able to trust the most...
We couldn't.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. And that's where I give this out there. It's like, guys, if back up, my sister would tell me, no, I was there. That never happened. This never happened. Blah, 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 blah. XYZ. Explain it out to me. And then it left me with more questions than I had answers. Because I would be like, all right, I love you, sis, blah, 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 to get off the phone. And I would sit there, crickets chirping, whatever. I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? How do I go back in this house where my...
a baby boy.
We're about to have another special guest. Oh, maybe not. No, they're taking care of chickens. Never mind. I thought the Gus man was about to pop in and say hello. But but it left me with more questions. So, and that's the insanity, the cycle that continues with narcissistic abuse. And I'm not one of those one who throws abuse around all the time either. Yeah. But with narcissistic abuse, you start questioning. Now I'm not only questioning myself, my sister, who was one of my best friends, and then my spouse, who was one of my best friends. I'm sitting here
putting them at odds in your head.
Like, I'm going, wait a second. This person says
telling me the truth because they're saying different truths.
Correct. But I was accused of, and I'm not. Again, this isn't about this. My personal story. It's more of a hey, this is what a narcissist truly does. This is what a narcissist truly is. This is what gaslighting really is. But this is where my previous partner would get into my head and have me thinking I was saying these things, doing these things. And now, mind you, I drink more now than I drank then.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Like, drinking was a special occasion back then.
It wasn't anything.
It wasn't an intoxicated, oh, did I say that to her? No. Yeah. This is sober-minded, like Seth had brought up before. I go to work, I come home, I flip my fucking hat, excuse the language, I drop the F-bomb. That's one time, still PG-13. But I flip the hat, and suddenly I'm dad, and I'm here, and dude, I'd take my kids out in the woods, and we'd run around, we'd play football, we'd do all this, and then I'd come back inside, and whoop, I'm a husband again. I'll take out the trash, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then next morning, whoop, I'm in the shower, and I'm going to work. And it was a rinse and repeat. I loved my life. Yeah. But it was the fact that all the while I'm being told I'm a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. I'm a walking wallet. That was a phrase that was used to me a lot. Yeah. All these things that were thrown at me, and it's like, none of that was real. Mm-hmm. And it's taken me a decade, even before the 2 or 3 years before I shut it off, a decade to get past that and go, none of that was real. Yeah. And I guess that's the whole purpose of, while we're talking about mental health and men's mental health specifically and men's health in general, there's a narrative. There's a playbook. Yeah. And these aren't my own phrases. Matt Brown, I just doxed myself. I did not discover this, but it was brought to me by my counselor. There is a playbook that these women go by.
For sure. And let me pause you there just for a second. That is a big thing with gaslighting and narcissism and stuff that people don't take into account. People say, oh, my boyfriend or my girlfriend or whatever is narcissist because they do this or they gaslight me this way. At the end of the day, every lie isn't gaslighting.
No. Sometimes a lie is just a lie.
Yes, and this is an argument that goes is as old as time, but recently with like racism and this and that.
I felt a Beauty and the Beast moment there. You said
people
lies as old as time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some teapot singing to me. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get it.
But people often look at a lot of things that every human does as a sign of this or that.
Yeah.
And it's because we're looking for it, because we know more about it nowadays.
True.
But at the end of the day, like, you have to look at the intention.
Yeah.
Like, the intention of, the reason I brought up racism and this and that is because there's obviously intentionalism with
True.
people saying certain words or doing this or behaving this way towards certain people or this or that. But with that comes, the ideology that everything is this. And no, like, not every lie is gaslighting.
No. Sometimes it's just a lie.
Yeah, if
you're a liar. You're not a narcissist, you're a liar.
Maybe I'm lying to hide something.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm lying to manipulate you. Which one is gaslighting? Like one of those things where it's like you have to look at the intention behind something. Not every person lying is gaslighting.
Correct.
They might just be trying to hide something else, which is also bad, especially with relationships. You shouldn't lie to each other.
So, I guess, and to segue into yours, and Seth, speak in whenever you want to. I feel like sometimes people are just pieces of shit.
Sometimes people are just pieces of shit.
I wouldn't give them the credit of being a narcissist. That's a whole different full blown vampire, right?
Yeah, you have to realize those people that are doing those things are doing it intentionally.
Yeah. They are intentionally lying to you because they're hooking up with Susie Q down the road. That's a liar. He's a cheater. He's all these things. He's not a narcissist. He's just a cheater. Blah, blah, blah. He may be exuding some narcissistic trait, but it doesn't make a narcissist. You've shared with me you have been with a narcissist.
Yes.
Seth, have you ever known a true narcissist in your life?
I wouldn't say that I've been with or ever known a true narcissist. Like, I mean, we're human. Yeah. We make mistakes. We do things, and it's tough to get away from the gravity of like, hey, I'm gonna do for me. Because we get, like, I feel like us as human beings, like, we're so, like, our genetic code is wired to be, like, survival. Yeah. Like, I'm going to do for me.
Well, that comes into effect. Yeah. Right. You have those moments where you're like, I've got to think about myself for a second.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, like, gaslighting is such a tough term. You think, even back 100 years from now, gaslighting wasn't a term.
It became a thing when scientists or psychiatrists started diagnosing it as a form of abuse.
Right.
It is mental, emotional, and technically, because mental and emotional tie into physical, it almost becomes physical abuse because you have somebody questioning their own sanity.
Yeah. And like getting into kind of like a little bit into the weeds here, but...
that's where we dwell in the weeds.
Yeah. Like... Lex and I struggle with, like, like we struggle to see eye to eye in a lot of things. Like, I work a full-time job, and like you said earlier, flipping the hat back or whatever, and you're putting your dad hat on. But there's still household chores that need to be done. Fuck, I'm already lit. Oh, that's the other F-bomb.
No, you said I'm already lit. That's what I heard. Yep.
But, like, when I get home, our arguments are so petty. Our arguments are like over something like as small as like who does the dishes, who does X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, I do this. Well, I'm at home with the kids all day. Well, it's like I gotta get comfortable with the idea that being at home with the children, 100% is a job.
It's a full-time job.
It is,
especially when they're this little.
Exactly.
Not Kyrie age.
Yeah,
but Gus age, and then Luna when she kicks it. I mean, dude, you got little.
It's going to be fun.
Like, it will be fun.
I'm very much looking forward to the no sleep at nights.
Hell yeah.
Going home or going to work the next day, grinding my ass off.
But now you're older. Woo! Yes, dude.
And I've got an understanding of like what's to come.
So,
but like and I'm trying to be careful, but getting into like these sort of things where it's like, we do struggle. We fight just like I'm assuming everybody else does.
Every couple fight. Me and Angela fight. I'm sure you and Celeste fight.
Yeah.
If I'm not trying to throw anybody. Do you and Dalton fight? They don't fight. They're in the honeymoon phase.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Fights are
I mean,
coming. He's going to say, I don't like the powder orange, and you guys are going to get in a fight. That's what's going to happen. But I had to bring the peanut gallery into it, guys. Sorry, we've been a little bit centralized here on this one. But every couple fights.
Yeah.
Me and Angela fight over stupid stuff. Now, me and Angela also fight because of serious stuff, but we're not mad at each other. We're just mad at the frickin' cards we've been
predicament.
dealt.
Like
it's like,
I noticed that, like, a lot of our fucking...
sorry, Celeste. I just headbutt the... It's okay. How fucking dare you?
Yeah.
Sorry,
our
I did it
arguments
now, Zach.
are
Yeah,
mostly centralized around like finances and stuff.
That's
like that.
100.
And it's like, you know,
Gold,
like, she
it?
busts her ass. she works with the kids, and then the part time she cleans and does all this stuff. But it's like, I carry most of the burden of the financial weight. But at the same time, I absolutely 100% respect her for what she does with the children. And like, we have decided together that like we love the traditional household because she's there to teach the children. Yep. She's there to, you know, educate them. And I realize it whenever I get home, put that dad hat on, I'm doing like workouts with Gus, and I'm like picking him because he's like, hey, lift me up. I'm like, all right, well, if we're gonna lift you up, we're gonna actually go at it. And so I'll get on the couch and I'll lay down like a bench press and I'll lift him up and I'll have him count it out. And that's how we got almost to 20. I mean, awesome. It's crazy. The dude's almost 3 years old.
He's talking about my grandson, by the way. Just letting you know. His son, but my grandson. I want to throw it out there. Yeah, go ahead.
He's almost 3 years old and it can almost count to 20 without help.
Yeah, that's
it's
badass.
ludicrous.
Cool.
He can say his ABCs. He can... I'm not saying he can read, but I mean, like, he recognizes, like, photographs of literally anything, and he can just be like, that's this, that's that. And it's like, dude, this guy is so intelligent.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud as a
there's
father.
parts, I can tell. I say parts or farts? I meant parts.
You said parts.
Okay. So there's farts I want to tell you about. No, there's parts I want to tell you about that I can tell there's books you guys read them at home that we have here. Because we'll sit down and he knows what's coming up and he'll start calling out what's going to happen. And I'm like, I can tell that either your dad or your mom read this to you a certain way and I feel like an utter failure. So I'll start going, oh, in my silly voices reading him a book. Because he knows what's coming. He understands sequential order. And it's to be 3 years old almost.
Blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
The Toy Story thing.
Yeah,
he's got one F up on us, just letting you know. He just hit us again.
Sorry.
Typically, yeah, a kid doesn't know. So what you're talking about there, especially with books, is the idea of object permanence.
We talked about this in the last episode.
So the idea you're talking about there is object permanence.
Because it was there before, it's going to be there again.
Something or some media or something that exists even when I'm not seeing it. And now when a normal person thinks of that, they're like, what? What does that mean? Because they're like, that doesn't make any sense because we already understand that if I put the phone down here, the phone is here. If I walk over there,
it's still there.
It's still here.
Yeah.
Like, we understand that, but kids don't. So what we're talking about there is a kid understanding at a very young age, because they're not supposed to really grasp object permanence until they're like 4 or 5.
I thought it was 7 or 8, but...
Well, yeah. I mean, to an extreme, yeah. But 4 or 5 is nowadays the typical ideology for object permanence.
COVID babies are crap.
Yeah, object. Yeah. Well, no, for sure.
Vaccine.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
COVID babies because of parents being
that was my
home
anti-vax moment. Sorry.
For parents being home more often and everything, getting to spend more time with them.
Isn't that
COVID
crazy?
babies are an extreme change to the dynamic, to the average.
Agreed.
Which is insane because of how many babies were born during COVID had to be there to impact the average. But yeah, nowadays it's like 4 or 5.
Well, you mean
I've noticed that so
objects.
much. Like with COVID, we were at home, working from home, whatever.
Yeah.
We're spending more times with our children.
Yep.
Even though, like, hey, it's like work from home, whatever. We all know what that means. It's like the subtlety. I'm going to send a couple emails here and there to make it look like I'm
catching
working,
up on the office. Yeah.
Exactly. But, like, also, like, spending more time with the kids and learning. And now, all of a sudden, like, these kids learn. Gus is an absolute reflection of a sponge.
Yeah.
He soaks up literally
all
everything.
children are. And I'm interested in seeing this new generation, like my kids.
Post-COVID?
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this generation here 10 to 20 years from now because I mean, you can argue this or that. For society, was COVID good or bad?
Horrible.
I think it was good.
I think it was a necessary reset. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think is good because now we have children who, Ember and Gus and this and that, who have grown up in certain years where the parents can be more prevalent in their lives. And
that wasn't the case a year before.
No.
Both parents working, kids at daycare watching Miss Patty Cake, or whatever.
I've talked with Celeste about, her kids were born a little before COVID and everything, which is my wife, for those that, just
and they're
to
all degenerates.
And they're all pieces of... No, I'm kidding. To an extent, though,
oh my God,
they are all of a generation almost separately.
It is simply because of the reset.
Yeah. And
I agree.
And some of them, two of them were born just a couple years before, but the differences in their understanding of certain things versus her 4-year-old or my 4-year-old's understanding of certain things is immense.
There was more face-to-face time. There was more direct parental influence in their life.
Which I think was good for society as a whole.
It's essential to children as they're growing up.
Well, I've
noticed that more and more as I've carried on. Even that short tenure where Lex started working full-time in Enterprise and Gus was going to daycare. He learned from daycare, but since we've gone back and Lex quit her job, he's grown exponentially again in his knowledge.
It's every time you come to the house, you're like, God, Seven is so much bigger. Seven's my ball python, by the way. And Seth, past month or so, has been coming over almost every weekend or every other weekend. But every time he sees her, he's like, oh my God, she's bigger. Why? Because he hasn't seen her in 7 to 14 days.
Yeah.
Right.
And suddenly oh my God, she's huge.
Right.
It's the same thing with me, with Gus. So it's like you guys, you see it, even though you're there in the moment. And then how much different is it when I haven't seen the little Gus man? I may have heard him in the background on the phone when I'm talking to you or Lex, and he's singing some song in Russian fluently. And I'm like, holy shit, what did this kid learn? But when I see him next, the dude finds something in my house, and he's like, hey, Papa, I found this. And he's bringing me this big-ass chunk of cedar that he found in my house. And I'm just like, what? You just...
And then he immediately says to you, cedar wood, house build, yes?
But he did not almost say that, but it's the fact that he comes out of nowhere, and when you go 2 weeks without seeing a kiddo, and suddenly, even linguistically, he is so much more advanced. He's saying things differently.
Yeah.
He's pronouncing things better. And it's just like, holy crap, you're growing up so fast. And like you said, oh my God, you hadn't seen Gus since...
I haven't seen Gus since...
3 years, almost?
He's not even 3 yet, so...
Well, two I know I'm fast forwarding.
Two and some change,
but it's been... And you're like, oh my God, I'm getting old. I am his grandpa. And when I see him, every time I see him, I'm just like, holy crap, it's a fast forward button. It's like, bro, slow down. Because as you speed up, I go away.
Now that you say that, I want to ask, though, because we're talking about the differences between generations with COVID and everything. Looking at your own children, and I'm not talking crap on your children or his children or anything like that, but looking at your children...
We're going to get fighty. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
I'm ready. But looking at your children and the development without COVID versus the speed and development of his kid during COVID, what do you see a major difference?
So,
and Ember, you've seen Ember.
You hit on an interesting topic. So my daughter Lexi, I'll speak of her for example. Lexi has always been super intelligent.
Yeah, for sure.
When she was a kid, super bright.
Yeah.
She went, if you're not familiar, there was a program, the hippie program. She flew through that.
Yeah, it's still active.
Her mom at the time was very active, and I was very active too. Mm-hmm. And Lexi was just always super bright.
Yeah.
Lexi, and this is weird because she was a young adult when COVID happened, right? But I can tell you the change I've seen in Lexi since COVID, pre-COVID to now, even her in her current capacity, that was a celery crunch. I hope you guys, it picked up the celery crunch.
Yeah, watch this. Hold on.
Oh, no, let's get a good celery crunch here.
Beer and Wings ASMR.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, we always hit the ASMR. But I can tell you that Lexi, even as a person,
I think society as a whole. Maybe
not
as a whole.
I don't have a lot of faith in society. So, well, something else I wanted to talk about. I know we've kind of been all over the place, but we kind of always are.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about some recent events, as recent as of yesterday.
Uh-oh. Riots?
The whole...
Protests?
The No Kings thing.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So I understand fully that Trump is an idiot sometimes.
For sure. Every
Well,
leader,
I'm
world
speaking
leader.
specifically of Trump. Because this guy, unfortunately, is unleashed on social media, and he says just whatever.
Yeah.
Verbal diarrhea, I think is what we used to call it.
We don't have... Social media didn't exist before, so we have no rules for what a president should or can say.
Back in the day, you could pass a note, and it was between you and whoever intercepted it. No, please don't tell Billy I have a crush on him. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You know,
God dang
that
Billy.
I'm
still hearing from Billy.
I hate to throw
nowadays.
you under the bus, Zach. You and Billy, you guys are a cute couple, though. But
He's
the point is that Trump sometimes is an idiot. Trump opens his mouth and he says some absolutely stupid stuff.
Abhorrent.
And it's
He's
like,
human, though.
He's human.
We all do that shit.
We all do on social media. Like, dude, if you go back in your memories, where I look at my memories sometimes, I was like, man, I was such an emo dude. Just I want to delete it, but I'm like, no, it was a part of my memories from 13 years ago. I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking. That was the echo effect. But yeah. Anyway, it's the fact that, man, it picked all that thinking up. But
that's our.
I don't want to see that anymore. I'm like, God dang, I'm loud.
We take that, put it into AI, and make our version.
Yeah. But it's. I want to get back onto Lexi, but for Trump, for the here and now, because we brought up the whole No Kings thing. So here's the thing. I know Trump has made some stupid comments about how, the king is back, baby, and stuff like this. I don't think he means in the form of a monarchy. And I think if you believe...
Let me stop you there real quick.
Well, I didn't even get to finish.
I know, but let me stop you there real quick.
So I'm going to finish.
Before we hit that...
I'm going to finish. But go ahead.
You will finish, but before we hit that, that's not what No Kings is about. It's not about the fact that Trump has said that. Because I have seen some people on social media...
I've seen liberals say that.
I've seen people say on social media, like, Trump is talking about that. That's not what it's about. We almost have never had a president celebrate his birthday on a national level the way that Trump wanted it to happen. It so happened to fall on the Army's
250th anniversary, correct.
So, to some people, it lined up like, okay, Army's celebrating their anniversary, Trump's celebrating his birthday, same day. It lined up. To some people on the other side, it lined up, and it seems like when you look at any dictatorship, monarchy, or anything, I'm sorry, I'm drinking, anything like that, people, they have their country celebrate their birthday like a king.
Yeah, but that's such horse shit, man.
I mean, he even said it himself in a press conference shortly after. What do you think about the No Kings the protests going on throughout the country and whatever? I wish sometimes that I was, because I got to go through all these checks and balances to get any shit done.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, you get a heavy-handed side right now, because you got to remember that. I think the last time I checked, but I'll digress. 75%. We'll go. 75% of the media is heavy left leaning.
I wouldn't say so.
You can fact check me.
I will, because I don't think that's...
You have about
correct.
15...
I mean, all the major media outlets are typically left-leaning, except for Fox.
I wouldn't say they're left-leaning. I would say a lot of them nowadays are anti-Trump.
Before that, though...
Because Fox nowadays is, I would say...
How about
comparing Fox to 2016's Fox, I would say they're more left-leaning than they were. However, there seems to be a lot of right-wing things that have turned their back on the Trump issue particularly, so they look left-leaning, but are they just anti-Trump but still right-leaning? Because now we have that
historically, if you look, about 70 to 75, I say that liberally, but if you look, 70 to 75% of media leans heavily left. So you have like Fox, you have a few others that I think, what's the one? The Russian Times actually are pretty neutral. I know it sounds weird saying it, but the Russian RT, they lean pretty neutral. They don't lean liberal or conservative. But when you have people like CBS or MSNBC that use an orange filter on their video cameras or their playback footage to make him look like the bad orange man, where you look at him on Fox and he looks like a normal freaking human being. So it's... I
mean, they tried to assassinate this guy. Are we forgetting that? Like,
no, I did not.
A few months ago, like, whatever, but we're in now, and they literally tried to kill this guy. And, I will say this. Trump does have his moments.
So it looks like right now... I don't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
It looks like right now...
Zach is fact-checking at the moment.
According to...
Real time.
According to All Sides, which uses... All Sides.
All Sides is pretty fair. I'll give them that.
Everything is negative 0.8, which means negative is
50.8% leans towards liberal.
50.8, yeah, would be liberal. When you look at Harvard Library,
I call bullshit.
It's probably liberal media telling you that.
when you look at Harvard's library, they're saying about 40% one way, 40% the other way, the other 20% wherever.
We're at 110% there.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Well, no,
I'm
40,
we're all
40,
drinky
20,
here
40,
at the
40,
Beer and Wings podcast.
100.
That's the word. It's become the word is drinky.
So I wanted to use two separate resources.
But there are other ones. So I could Google it too. I'm not going to. I can tell you, like, if I start calling off.
Well, because I lean more left.
We've discussed this, and I'm dead neutral, but I lean more right.
And I want to tell you why
I'm all the way on the right. Like, what are we talking about?
This is a good crew we have here.
Well, I lean probably way more left than everyone here. However, I see most media coming across my page, even though I have mostly left-leaning friends on like Facebook and Twitter and this and that, which who cares about Twitter? But either way, X, yeah, whatever. But most of the stuff I see come across my platforms, even though I'm left-leaning, is right-leaning content.
Very interesting, because I am I'm Switzerland when it comes to it, except for the fact that morally I tend to lean more right.
Yeah.
Everything I'm seeing on my page is left-leaning.
That's crazy.
Well, you also have to take into account, like, I do too as well, about like who are friends and stuff like that. Like, because a lot of my friends are leaning left. Which is still interesting because a lot of them are coming a lot more right-wing across. Well, and I've even messaged some of them, been like, hey, man, like, some of these resources and stuff that you're sharing are, leaning this way or whatever. And that's just more in the pursuit of knowledge. Like, why are you trusting something that's leaning more this way instead of something that's just more center-based or neutral-based?
Right.
And a lot of these people are like, oh, well, it just seems that it's going that way or whatever, and which is a crappy excuse. But still, whether or not whatever side you're on, just the excuse of, oh, it just seems like it's leaning that way is a bad excuse. But it's interesting, though, because I have more left-leaning friends that are showing, and I've seen a lot of your, we have a lot of mutual friends now. And I've seen a lot of your friends, and I would say a lot of your friends are also more left-leaning.
That's what I'm saying.
As well.
That's so crazy, because Lex, I love my relationship. Lex is super left-leaning, and I'm super right-leaning. But, like, we find, like, when we have political discussions, yes, we argue. But like, we find common ground.
Right.
So, like, abortion is a hot topic.
Yeah.
But, like, she's like, oh, abortion is such a medical right to have. And I'm like, no, abortion is murder when it boils down to. But at the end of the day, I look at it, it's like, and we can both agree on this, why the hell does the federal government have a right to say so? What you do and what you do not do with your body.
As a more left-leaning person, I can agree with that entirely.
As a more right-leaning person, I can tell you the federal government should have zero say.
I don't think the government...
Absolutely none.
I don't think federal, state, or anything should have any
I pause
say.
there. I believe state...
I don't think they should have any say.
Then throw away community. What does community matter?
Yeah. I don't care about community.
You don't.
And that's not just a left-leaning person. That's, to be fair, and let me just out myself here, I don't care about humanity as a whole. And that's what? For sure.
Have you met Zach?
No, for sure.
Most people are shitty.
Well, I've talked about this with Matt before, and I will state this again and again and again until the end of time. I don't care about humanity as a whole. I don't care if we die tomorrow. I think we've truly messed up this attempt in life as a society.
I agree.
I think we need a major reset.
The system that we built.
That's okay with me. I'm okay with a major reset.
Like, if you get down to the Constitution and everything, which I think the Constitution is the most important document that's ever been created.
I think it's
rights.
important. Do I think it's without bias? No. And I think society is
what bias? Okay, so interesting.
I'm curious,
and I love your mind. So I'm curious. Where does bias exist in the Constitution?
And this is as someone who now believes in God, I still think the Constitution is heavily biased towards religious implementations of ideologies.
But written by men who were not religious.
We can get into the weeds here.
A lot of them were. A lot of the founding fathers were.
I guess there was a fear of God,
heavily
but not
Protestant,
religion.
Christian still, but not Catholicism based.
But you go into the history of it.
Yeah.
That's where it came from. The reason that the Protestants flew the UK was to get away from
heavily Catholicism based religion. However, I don't think humanity or humanity's rules should be based on any religions. And that's just a me thing. I don't think any of them should be based on any religion's mindsets.
As somebody that's served, I 100% agree with what you're saying. Freedom of religion is absolutely essential.
For sure.
I don't look at, Christianity, we're number one. But second in closely closing the gap is Islam.
Yeah.
But and we can get into the weeds here, but Islam is if you look into the historical facts, you look at Christianity first. Mm-hmm. The closest document that we have is 32 years after the birth of Christ. The oldest document for Islam is 750 years after the birth of Christ.
Well, that's not entirely true. There's been Dead Sea Scrolls.
So Dead Sea Scrolls. When you talk about that, you're talking about where both religions deviated, and we're talking about why there's so much hatred between Israel and Iran and Israel.
I don't think we should be arguing though.
Well,
that's another thing.
No,
it's because there's Christianity in the Quran. There's talks about Jesus.
Muhammad references Christ and Mary.
Well, let me just back on track for a second. That's a different topic.
No, it's a whole different podcast.
We're supposed to be talking about men's mental health.
Here we are.
This is it. This is how men work. This is us.
The deviation of religion is an entirely different topic because, we can talk about the fact that one is 700 years after the fact, one is 70 years after the fact. However,
but should we get into
now we're discovering Dead Sea Scrolls. We don't, even carbon dating and stuff like that, we don't have an exact idea of when Dead Sea Scrolls take place.
I don't believe in carbon dating.
Carbon dating is inaccurate.
It's
for sure, but what I'm saying
fallible.
is there's no dates in Dead Sea Scrolls.
Fair.
So we don't know. So we have to use something that we know can give us an approximate time.
Approximations.
And
fair.
And carbon dating and stuff, we don't know for Dead Sea Scrolls. So it could be a lot more current than 700 years, or it could be a lot further back. And so, and there's also within the last 300 years, finding Jesus's bones and finding this and that. So, which also starts to relate to Judaism and
So you're talking about it in the pyramids, right? No. Okay, so recently, they
and we also talked about Saint Nicholas
in the pyramids. They found the remains of Jesus.
I
recently
think that's inaccurate.
So let me tell you,
propaganda.
We've to be fair, we found the remains of Jesus about 6 times now.
But here's the thing: was it the podcast before last where we were talking about the apocalypse?
Yeah, it was before last.
Yeah, it was episode 4. We talked about prophecies, and one of the prophecies Jesus himself spoke, or so it was written, that he said, in these times, people will say, "Here is Jesus. We have found Jesus." So he said, "But I am not there."
Yeah.
All the stuff we're talking about with the sacrifice of the red heifers and blah, 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 blah.
If we talk about that, we also have to talk about the idea that, is Jesus talking about his physical self, or is he talking about him?
I think he's talking about his physical self.
Or whatever. I don't think so. I think he's talking about a spirit on
so,
him on
well,
a spiritual level.
It could.
Well, I mean, like, hold on. Let's go back to.
Ooh, this is getting good and
Sorry.
juicy. We got plenty of time, boys. Let's keep going.
We go back to the tomb itself.
Yeah.
And this is like, and I can speak to this because there's been non-believers or non-Christianity things, like accounts that have been recorded.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you look at what was guarding the tomb, they were like gladiators.
Yeah, like the top of the top Roman.
Or like modern day Navy
until,
SEALs.
Even by the Bible, until a few days later. They gave up pretty quick on guarding the tomb. Because Mary Magdalene came to the tomb to see Jesus, did see Jesus at the tomb, but not inside the tomb, outside of the tomb.
You read,
and there were no guards there except
so
for
it tells
an
you,
angel.
Where do you see this at?
This is in the Bible.
Well, she goes to the tomb where it's vacant, but it tells you that the guards were asleep. And those guards, like he said, these are like Navy SEAls dudes. They don't go to sleep.
Navy SEAls of their time,
of their time.
Because they'd be put to death
if
they were found sleeping
especially
or whatever
when you have
Yeah, but we also have to think about the fact that no one at that time thought anyone was going to come back to life.
Yes, they did.
So are they taking it seriously?
Yes, they did. Because of the simple fact that the Roman magistrate put upon them, do not let anybody come near this grave.
But
they're going to try to
Magdalene
martyr
got
this
there and had a whole conversation with Jesus and an angel.
But he said, take back. Pause right there, because it's a great point. He said, if you have to look historically, they're going to try to martyr this guy. We don't want that. We brought peace by going, hey, the Jews want it, because there was a tension happening, like the groups of Somalia being around his...
This guy was like so amazing.
It's like, we don't want him to... So the Romans were like, he washed his hands. I don't want nothing to do with this, but if the Jews want him dead, this dude's dead, they let a murderer go. Cool, that's what y'all want. Boom, done. But he said, hey, best of my best. You guard that tomb, they're going to make a martyr out of this guy. Don't let him be a martyr.
Yeah.
So he put his centurions, the best of the best.
Here's the thing, though, is we can say that to a Navy SEAL today, but does a Navy SEAL think someone's going to come back from the dead?
It's the stealing of the body is what they were worried about.
Real quick.
No, I understand, and I get that to an extent. But understand that, and I understand you have experience in the military, and I've got friends in the military and everything as well, and I understand all that comes to different outlooks here. But at the end of the day, today, take religion out of it for just a second. At the end of the day, tomorrow's Friday. If someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna kill this dude. We're gonna bury him in this hole," we've got some extremists that think
they're gonna try to steal his body.
They're gonna steal his body. Watch it. They think he's going to come back to life. Because that was a belief. They were like, he's supposed to come back to life. Is he going to come back to life? No.
Was that actually told in the gospel he's going to come back to life?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think so.
The resurrection was foretold. It was a prophecy. Remember, he was the son of a prophecy. He was prophesized.
It wasn't that he was going to be back. It was more of they were worried about the Jews that were followers of Christ stealing his body to make him a martyr and then coming up with the story.
But in a religious context, that wasn't it. It was just the fact that, and you can look it up or whatever you want to do, but in a religious context, it was the return of Jesus. It was a resurrection of Jesus. And it was for sure, they were like, this dude is going to come back. Or that's what they believe.
That
ties in directly to what the guys should have been guarding against in the first place.
For sure, they should have been guarding against it. But let's take human ideology into it for a second. Romans at the time did not believe the same thing as Jewish people did, so they were like, "This dude's not going to come back."
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, seeing Navy SEALs firsthand. So I'm just using this as an example because I don't know what did you call them? Centurions. I don't know Centurions firsthand, but I know Navy SEAls.
Yeah.
These mother fathers.
Father's Day.
They're insane. They're insane. I have a close friend.
I knew
that
they were
currently
insane.
in Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And he's.
Let's
if this man was not a Navy SEAL right now, he'd probably be a mass murderer.
let me elaborate a little bit on their insanity.
Yeah.
When I was overseas, again, we're FOB security, so we go inside, we do an 8-hour shift, we swap out with another squad or whatever, and they come in. Yeah. This guy told us prior to, Like, we were in charge of the airfield. Anything that comes in, any bird that comes in or comes out is our AO. Like, hey, we're supposed to know who comes in, what comes out. And so by extension, if there's going to be running on the airfield, we gotta be known, because we gotta, hey, let's let you know if you're running out there, the bird's supposed to come between X hours.
Yeah.
This guy came and told us before we came on shift that hey, I'm going to be running on the track. I'm going to be running on the airfield. This guy ran from the time that before I got on shift, probably an hour and a half before I got on shift, to the time to the time that I was literally about to leave. He comes in and goes, "Hey guys, I'm off the airfield."
8 hours of running.
8.5, more than that. 9.5 hours.
I do want to interject there that a proof of physical fitness isn't a proof of mental fitness.
I get that, but also at the same time, somebody that's have
dedication.
you ever ran more than an hour?
No, for sure, but those are
I had an hour on a treadmill once. Changed my life.
Imagine doing it.
You did.
9 hours of running, and I'm not exaggerating at all. Like, we have him on camera the entire time. The dude's like, albeit a slow jog, but like 9 hours of running.
Yeah.
The mental toughness of that is ludicrous. And that's what I get into, is like, if that's our modern equivalent of Navy SEALs, that's got to be our equivalent. If they're coming on shift, they don't fall asleep.
I will say, and I will use an episode of Deadliest Warrior here as a reference, though. Modern day Navy SEAls, I would say, are tougher than
I've seen some of those episodes.
Than Centurion.
But here's the thing.
I agree with that, because I feel like
you have to also take into account
subjective.
They're tougher in some ways because we have a lot more
These guys
conveniences nowadays than they did then. So are they tougher? I don't know. We have more conveniences, but at the same time, in terms of training, Romans at this time were already in supreme control. They were already.
But you had men who were born, bred, and raised for Rome.
For sure.
Our government now is in complete. I'm not going to say complete control, but like, we're a threat for sure. We're like one of the modern day powers, and like, for sure comes with like top of the line training, and even back then, like even the Romans say, "Oh, our Roman Empire is vast and things," but like, me as a soldier, if I'm coming on shift, I know in the back of my mind, if I fall asleep, there's consequences.
I'm going to die.
I'm going to die. But no, not that drastic.
Well, the Centurions?
I wouldn't die. But the Centurions, yes. Yeah. I would be put to death if I
failed my mission.
However, we're still humans.
Yeah.
At the end of the day... So
your argument is that they fell asleep during the thing of Christ because they're humans?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we know they fell asleep.
There was a period of time where they fell asleep, and when they woke up, this is biblical, when they woke up, the stone was moved, so they went back to the Roman magistrate and said, "Hey, the stone's moved. Yeah. We didn't touch it. We saw nobody. Nothing happened." During that time, you could have had Mary Magdalene talking to Christ going, "Oh, you're not the gardener."
Yeah, who's gonna? How much was that stone though?
It was like a couple tons or something.
Yeah, it took multiple men
3 tons or something like
stone.
that. See, but either way, so to your credit, with what he's saying, historically, what we have, I say historically, through written history, what we have is situations of humans being humans falling asleep at the wheel.
But they changed the guard.
But see, hold on a second though. Let's say he fell asleep. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
The 3 tons is what you said?
It took more than... It would take multiple men.
I don't know about you, but as a military man, I'm a light sleeper. If somebody were to walk up on me while I'm sleeping, I'm going to hear you.
Yeah.
Not to mention 100 people that it's going to take to move the stone. Give or take 50, whatever.
Well, the belief here, though, we deviate a little bit. So, because the belief here at this point is that Jesus or God or whomever moved the stone, or an angel or whatever. So we're talking about just for podcast sake, a magical force moving the stone. So there's nothing to say that a magical force couldn't do it quietly, or a godly force, or a divine force couldn't move this thing quietly. So at the end of the day, when we talk about noise and stuff, we have to talk about the fact that this stone was not moved by
300 men.
Yeah, was not moved by 300 men, as it should have. If we were to look at it in today's day and age, take religion out of it, take 300 men, for sure someone would wake up. But if we look at it biblically, it was probably moved.
God split the Red Sea, so...
Fair, So I just want to take a quick pause and just say that this is what I love about this podcast, is the fact that we can completely just talk.
Yeah. And this is also good for men's mental health.
It sure is, because we talk about Romans, and we talk about the Roman government.
We don't get to have that conversation.
Isn't it crazy how men's mental health always ends up cycling to the Roman Empire?
Yes, it always does. I heard about that. There was a TikTok video about that girl, let me tell you. But there was the point is the fact, in facto? Point in facto? Is that
in facto?
I don't know. I was going to try to do it. I was going to make a point. I wasn't going to do Trump tonight, but I think I'm going to do the Trump.
Well, you're here
it's a great point of view.
You got to get gravelly.
You got to get gravelly.
He's got a little older. He's 79 now. He breathes up the... Yeah, but it's the point, a point in facto is the fact that you have three dudes sitting here, and we've talked about everything, and one of the most important things we've talked about is our mental health. And we've talked about the fact that this shit right here doesn't happen enough.
No.
Speaking of that,
we don't get to talk enough, dude.
My father, rest his soul, John, talked about all the time where men would gather at donut shops and talk. Because it was built into, whatever, whether it be... Because there was no, media like there is now with the internet.
And beyond donut shops, you go older to taverns and pubs.
Barber shops, whatever.
Barber shops. Depending on cultures, barber shops, taverns, pubs.
We're isolated, and I feel like that's a part of the broken part of society.
It is.
We're isolated so much to the point where we don't have anybody to lean on.
So
we don't have anybody to talk to.
It's a weird counterpoint to society nowadays because we have social media. We shouldn't be as isolated.
But we are. And I'll tell you, it's because we're men.
So bizarre.
I tell you, it's because we're men. So here's the thing.
I hate social
You have a bunch of men that are pieces of crap.
Yeah.
Where before, we could go to a bar, or go to a pub, we could all have a pint, and we could all talk about it.
We don't talk about old John over there. He's a piece of shite.
That much unfortunate. Let me tell you what he did to me. And, we drink our pint, we blah, 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 and we go home to our wives. The problem is that you had a society, a birth of men, that didn't do that. You had a group of men that, I'm going to go grab a beer with the guys, and he's out pooning some other girl. So you had that
brother, right? No,
wrong. You had this player mentality that was birthed.
Yeah.
And because there was no man allowed to be present.
Yeah.
What is that saying? Hard times breed weak men and whatever the circle. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Do. Yes, I
can't I would say hard times breed hard folk.
Hard times breed hard men create soft times create...
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Soft men and then whatever.
It's exactly right. We have there was a society or a generation, I'll even go, if you don't like me, piss off. There's a whole generation of men, and I use the term loosely, because I'll fight any of you, but they came about and they weren't men at all. They cheated on their spouses. They cheated on their girlfriends. They cheated.
We're talking about the 50s.
Yeah, sure. I wasn't there, but
even to today's society, man, even getting on TikTok
today is horrible, dude.
Social media. I feel like there's an elite group of people that look at this from a huger scope than what
30,000
we're looking at.
30,000 foot overview. Yeah,
exactly. That push. Sorry, I'm going to drop it, but pornography or female whatever down our throats.
Dude, I'm scrolling on TikTok.
And I don't look at that shit, but the
I don't
algorithm
either.
Says you're a man
and you're in this age range.
Look at some
Yeah, I'll sit here and scroll, and it's I'll be watching UFC fight after some snake doing something, some cool guy's fish tank, to why am I looking at a bra?
I don't agree entirely.
I have nothing to do with a bra. So I scroll to the next one, and I keep going. Then it's some thirst trap, and I keep scrolling. I'm like,
I don't
what?
agree entirely. Not with every social media, at least.
I'm speaking just of TikTok. That's the one I use primarily.
With Twitter, there's a lot
of shit on Twitter,
for the last couple of years, Twitter has almost been entirely driven towards OnlyFans and porn-driven content.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, don't use Twitter.
Don't.
Yeah, as a married man, don't use Twitter.
And no desire to.
It's a good platform for, like, if you're right wing, like you said, but, like, there's a lot of right wing people that are big on there.
And streamers, I'm a streamer. I have to use Twitter to promote my stuff. It helps a whole lot. So I use Twitter for that. But I very rarely browse Twitter because it's heavily, like, porn driven, heavily made. So
but that's how they get it.
But I will say,
there's bots on there that will be like, look at this OnlyFans and link to, like, not even like. I don't even know, sponsor or whatever, like link you to another person's OnlyFans.
Yeah. And I will say though, as far as Facebook and like Instagram goes and stuff, and TikTok even, I don't have the same experience. But however, I will throw out there that I don't look at normal male targeted stuff. As someone
you like ice cream.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I like anime.
Yeah.
I like a lot of stuff that's tabletop RPG.
Even crap in anime.
No, for sure. But I'm driven toward a lot of this stuff that is more. I don't want to use the term, but I'm going to use the term just to throw it out there. More gender neutral stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into like anime, video games that are more cozy game driven, not so Call of Duty driven. I'm more into like Animal Crossing and Palia and stuff like that as far as playing stuff on my own time. I'm more tabletop RPG like D&D and stuff, and D&D is super, super progressive nowadays where it's more gender neutral stuff. So I don't have a whole lot of that come across my feed except for Twitter. But
so
Twitter
for me,
is its own beast right now.
I'm a 47-year-old male.
Yeah.
And, they pick up on all your stuff. Obviously, they can tell I'm a Christian and this, that, and the other, but they see my stuff and they build an algorithm based upon me.
Well, they're also typecasting. I say typecasting.
It is typecasting. It's based upon age, gender, are you
married,
they're
like,
not married?
What does a white Christian male of 40 years old want to look at? And they're like, porn.
Well, they throw some stuff at me. It's like, I love UFC fights, so I'll spend some time watching. Oh, that was a good chokehold, or that was a good knockout, or whatever. And I go to the next, but it's another knockout.
See, the only time I ever see that stuff mostly is when you send it to me, and then occasionally I'll get it.
The UFC stuff?
Yeah.
I see it all the time on my TikTok, but then I'll keep scrolling. And it's like, oh, somebody playing Rocket League, because I stream Rocket League.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, and I'll keep going.
So it's like this guy likes driving cars and hitting soccer balls.
And then he also likes shopping for bras for his wife. And it's like, I let Angela buy her own bras. But it's some live model. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. Because I believe, honestly, what you see with your eyes, the eyes are a gateway to the soul.
For sure. That's something that me and my wife, current wife, had a conversation about early on. Because when I was a single dude, I did have a whole lot of that stuff on my social media feeds, specifically Twitter. But, so it was a whole lot of things where it was like, okay, if I get in a relationship, I will try to steer out of that. You know, I'll try to follow people, unfollow people, this or that, to steer me out of this
algorithm.
This gateway of this echo chamber of sex. And I mean, to just be blunt about it. And but yeah, and I think it's stereotyping in a way where it's
it is stereotyping because they're going, you're a male between this age range, you're married, you're not married, you're Christian, you're not Christian, you this, you that, you this is stuff you've looked at before.
I don't think it matters if you're male or female. If it's male, I'm going to cram sex down your throat. The algorithm says that.
It doesn't. My wife has shown me plenty of stuff that gets promoted to her on Twitter or Instagram where I'm like, oh.
Like Angela, she'll be scrolling her TikTok and it's like dance move after dance move because Angela loves dancing and I'm horrible at it. So it's one of those things, we used to go to the club and dance or whatever, but no, we didn't do the boot scooting boogie, but we did do the slide to the right. Did I ever tell you that story? I was drinky and they said slide to the right. It's like 50 million people in this dance floor.
That is Caucasian dance.
I slid to the left.
He said he slid with the utmost confidence.
I went against the flow. And I stomped this lady, like, right on her leg, and she crumpled. And I was like, I am so sorry. She was like, ah! She disappeared. I never saw her again. So if you're listening, ma'am, I am so sorry. You're now a quadriplegic.
Yeah,
but
she doesn't exist.
She doesn't exist.
Simulation.
But they said, slide to the right. My dumb ass said, that way. And she was like, where are you going? I was like, this way.
It was
Crunch.
the white coming out.
Yeah, it was all the white came out of me. But
coming out of
yeah.
The Irish.
The Irish be coming out of me. Yeah. But, yeah, I know we went all over the place. This is how the show goes. But, guys, this is what the show is about. So, the big about, I think, is...
I think this episode was the best episode to go off topic. Because we're talking about men's mental health.
Absolutely.
What's good for dudes mentally?
Being able to talk. Get together
something
just like this.
Get to do anymore.
It's shunned. It is shunned.
Yeah. You and I.
Yeah.
We can disagree on things, but at the same time, I have respect for you, for what you
sure.
believe in, for what you stand for what you believe, what you think.
As a general, I would say, decent American, I can never disrespect you. Because
we may disagree, but that's the thing that makes America so good is that, like, hey, we can disagree, but like we gotta find common ground.
But that's
whatever
the thing.
And
through conversation.
we do have we mean you like magic. We mean you like
so there's common threads.
Video games and
we
stuff.
didn't even talk about Final Fantasy.
We did not even get into that. Oh my god! I'll give the rest of the podcast to them guys. But I just want to say is the fact that we can't. This is the art of conversation. Is the fact that Zach, you and I are different guys. Seth, we're different. Y'all are different. But the fact that we can sit here, and even if and prove it on this podcast, we don't fully agree on things.
No.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that we can have a conversation. I'm not punching you.
Yeah, no.
I want to, god dang it. But no, it's I'm ready for it. But it's the fact that we can have a conversation. We can talk about deeper topics, right? We can talk about things that, I mean, literally across the world, people are killing each other over, which is stupid.
Over disagreement.
Over a
talk
disagreement.
about Israel, Iran, dude. Like that's so the Biden administration gives billion. Anyway, sorry.
So we touch basically on a base level, I should say. I think you had stepped away for just a second. We talked about the whole no king thing.
Yeah.
So and I feel like maybe we wrap it up here. My thing is this. So and this is coming from a central standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, because I do believe that there are some rights being squelched in this society that we live in, right? I do believe that. I'm not going to go into my personal beliefs of this, that, or the other, but I believe that there are some rights that are being
impeded on.
That was a burp. Impeded on. I feel like they're being squelched a little bit here and there, and they shouldn't be. I feel like there's maybe some toes being stomped on, but I feel like there's some toes that are more sensitive than others. And I feel like this is a thing where when you can have...
I will say...
No, I gotta make my point. I gotta make my point. Sorry, I never ever interject myself, but I'm going to interject myself here.
You're good.
Is the fact that, and I can't disagree with this, you have 7.2 million people, the last count I saw, 7.2 million, that's a shit ton of people. 7.7. That's 7.7? That's still less than the amount of illegal immigrants that have come into this country. How about 10.9 million? How you doing? So the fact that you have 7.2 million or 7.7 million people that have gotten together peacefully, not saying they're...
Except in Los Angeles.
Except for in LA and Chicago.
Yeah,
I heard there was some shit in Chicago.
They got some other stuff going on over there.
You had for the most part, liberals, I'm not trashing you in any way because I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Republican either, but I will tell you that largely when liberals get together, they get stupid.
I will say a lot of the no king stuff isn't just liberal. I've seen a lot of right wing people.
I have not seen any right wing.
I have seen
not true right wing. I haven't.
I would say about half of the right wing stuff I've seen on Twitter or Instagram is also on that no king side.
But my point being is that you have largely, and I give credit to the liberal or the left or however you want to phrase it, largely, not fully. Because there are some people acting stupid in LA and Chicago and in major cities.
But they had their stuff going on before the No Kings.
But you have 7.7 million people that can come together and go, we don't like this. No king, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. If it's the bad orange man, he's bad, slap his hand. Or, we don't want a king. Well, okay, he's not really a king. This isn't a monarchy. Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You have all these people that have gotten together. Great, cool. But if you look at those, vastly... The number is liberal. That's a part of this movement. But
7 million?
7.7. He corrected me. I 7.2.
There's 300 million plus in the United States.
Yeah.
So, but not everybody protests. So I'll give it
I
that.
agree. I was
For
gonna
sure,
say so.
and I will say 7.7 is a fraction.
So yeah, it is a fraction.
Is enough
You have
to
people
be a
from home
fraction
going, "I
of
wish I could
the-
be there, but I can't." You know, and that's cool. Or that I don't have the balls to get on stage and wave a flag with you. Okay, cool. But 7.7 million people showed up across the United States to protest no king for whatever reason. If it's they feel like the rights are being taken away, they feel like the orange man's bad, or whatever they feel like it is. ICE. Okay, so and here's the thing on the topic of ICE: the fact that someone was stupid enough in our government to compare ICE to Gestapo, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. 100% an idiot, because the Gestapo sought you out hatefully based upon your race, and they did horrible things to you.
To be fair, I haven't seen that.
I have seen that.
I haven't seen
and
that.
I've seen the comparison of ICE to Gestapo. It was Senator Walls, I think is his name, from Minnesota.
Walls.
He got called out on it.
But he made a point,
and I think he made a public apology.
Screw his apology.
I'm not saying it's
the fact
it's
that
valid, but
that's like calling somebody a Nazi when they're not. It's the same difference, because the Gestapo were Nazi.
I love talking to those people that think like, "Oh, Trump's a Nazi." Well, it's like, what do you think fascism is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't give an answer. It's like that Matt whatever. There's I can't remember his name, but what is a woman? He went through a whole entire segment of like asking a simple question of like, what is a woman?
Couldn't get a straight answer.
And couldn't get a straight answer. It's like, what do you think fascism is?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't ever get a straight answer. And that's why I feel like the problem, like I am
it's like the overuse of gaslighting or the overuse of narcissism.
Full circle. Here we go.
Where people are like, I think because I saw this person call this fascism, or I saw this person call this Marxism, or this or that. Where they don't know the actual what this thing is.
Here's the thing: the deportations that are happening.
Social media.
Correct. The deportations that are happening. Are you aware, or did you know that these families are being given $1,000 and a free plane ticket home? Are you aware of that?
I was not aware.
Okay, so ICE is not the Gestapo. They're not putting you in a gas chamber. They're going, here's $1,000. Go back home. You are not legally
here legally.
I had a conversation with my daughter, and I'm not trying to dox her or bring her up on this point, because she has a right to believe what she believes, but it goes back to what we talked about in a previous podcast. There are facts and there are feelings.
And I agree that 100%, if you're
Thank you for the elbow.
Come here legally.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're doing all the people that did come here legally such a disservice.
There are people, it's like going to Disneyland. Bro, have you been to Disneyland?
Yeah.
Have you been to Disneyland?
Yeah.
And
not Disneyland, Disney World.
Same difference. You're sitting there waiting for It's a Small World, and you're like, God, it's hot. The sun is like, like melting down on you. And you're just like, and then you get those two little mother fathers that want to cut in line. And you're like, bro, I've been standing here sweating my junk off trying to get to It's a Small World. And I've been waiting.
They got the speed pass.
I got
that speed pass.
So my one trip to Disney World, I got that snake eye, whatever you want to call it, the stank, because my grandparents bought the fast passes for the rides. Yep. And so when we're out there cutting the line, all those people that have been waiting an hour, 2 hours, they're like, you mother
father.
Oh, yeah, dude.
We both have an F pass. You don't. but it's a thing. You have people who, I sent it to the person I was conversing with online. I sent it to her. I said, hey, here's how you get into this country legally as a citizen if you want to become a citizen.
It's not too hard.
It's lengthy, but it's not hard. Mm-hmm. So it's 3 to 5 years. Green card, and you have to prove residence, prove that you don't have bad intent, you've been a good citizen, you haven't done this after all these years, and then you go, hey, I still want to become a U.S. citizen. After 3 to 5 years, cool, you can be a citizen.
I will say most immigrants that come into the country and pass the test and stuff like that to come in legally probably know more than most.
Agreed.
Because I don't know if you've seen the test that they have to take. I don't know some of the answers to
I was going to say that like, the test that they have to take, like land of the free and home of the blank. It's like, if you were to ask that to how many stars are on the American flag?
Not a clue.
Over their head, they have no freaking clue. What are the 13 stripes on the flag mean?
Yep. 13 original colonies. Exactly. But if you go to Russians and you ask Russians about their flag, you ask them because their culture and their history is bred into them. Here, it's more, how do you make an apple cobbler? You know, how do you feel about your feelings? That's not patriotism. That's not pride in your country. That's not
society.
Not that.
We're driven towards corporate America.
100%. We're cattle. But you have.
I do want to say, and this just hit me as we were talking about it. Is that a positive thing? I mean, not probably for a country is it a positive thing, but the fact that we live in a world or a society, shout out to my Batman fans, the fact that we live in a society so geared toward that nowadays, it does show how much we've progressed as a entire species, because used to it would have been focused on flags, nationalism, stuff like that. Nowadays it's less like, we're not going to kill each other, like, how do you do this thing to make X amount of money? Like, and to be fair, that's kind of a good thing as a society, because it's like, okay, it's less focused on like X person versus Y person, and it's more focused on how do you bring money into this economy.
I feel like, and I think largely we're all being played.
For sure.
We're
I do agree.
with a wage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
And I feel like this is a whole separate podcast, and hopefully you'll come back on that one, because I like your insight on it. I feel like we could definitely dive more into that
sure.
as far as society in general.
Yeah,
but
the capitalism episode.
Before we wrap this podcast up, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, U.S. Pawn and Loan.
Hello.
You guys did not know it was going to be this whirlwind of events, but I want to thank you guys and give you a shout out for continuing to support the Beer and Wings podcast, and to let you guys know that on June 27th and June 28th, they are doing a Lot Bash. A massive event. It's free. You can show up for free. You don't have to spend anything unless you want to, but there's going to be live music. There's going to be live music, baby. You know what it's all about. And there's going to be vendors of all sorts. There's going to be food trucks. And if you also want to partake in some of the cool stuff there, they have used vehicles that are Carfax certified. They have they're certified dealers of Bobcat and Worldlawn lawnmowers. And they are going to continue the 10% off on firearms.
I heard they sell animals or something there.
They do now have a pet shop in their store, by the way. So it's just getting started out, but they've got all kinds of cool stuff. Bug Girl actually is one of the vendors that is there.
Bug Girl Studio.
Bug Girl Studio.
There it is.
Did I take it too far? No.
Probably.
So if you're looking to make your tanks bioactive, Bug Girl, she supplies tons of isopods. They are there on display and ready to buy. There are a few critters there as well. If you guys are interested, I know there's a corn snake, some leopard geckos. There's even, I'll leave it at that, because some things require Arkansas Game and Fish Commission licensing, which they don't have. But there's some cool stuff there, so make sure you check them out. But 10% off firearms. They're continuing that.
And I checked out some of those firearms last time I was there.
I bought one of those firearms last time I was there, so it's super cool. And I'll have to show you guys that firearm that I got when we wrap this up. But yeah, super cool.
Beretta.
Oh, the Beretta.
Handgun.
You did see that. You held that.
This thing was so good of condition, I had to ask Matt here. I was like, do you guys clean these handguns? Mm-mm. And he was like, no, we don't. And I was like, holy crap, dude.
This Beretta was clean.
$600 or something like that?
Yeah.
Insane price.
Insane. And it came with a second clip, too, didn't it? That one?
No, the Beretta came with... Was that the one that came with 4 clips, or was that the SIG that came with 4 clips?
SIG came with 4.
SIG came with
2
4.
on the
Which
Beretta.
SIG is great, too. SIG Sauer is current military issue pistol. So,
good stuff.
Man, that SIG Sauer, like AR, $4 or $5 grand, but man, it is nice.
Yeah, they've got they have some guns there, guys. I'm not a revolver guy, just so you guys know, but there is a 357 that I saw there. It's a 3.5, a 3.25 inch barrel, but it is weighted so well that there's zero recoil. I want that gun so bad. I'm thinking about trading my left. Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to see it. I want to trade my left kidney for that gun, but and I'm not a revolver guy. But check them out.
That's looking for left kidneys. Just out of curiosity, because I'm in kind of a financial spot.
Yeah, I'm in a come to U.S. Pawn and Loan. We buy left kidneys. No, we don't. But seriously, we have some cool stuff going on. Check them out. U.S. Pawn and Loan, USPL Auto Sales. They have a Lot Bash going June 27th, June 28th. Make sure, if nothing else, come out for the fun, the food, the music. It's going to be super cool.
You get to see Matt.
You get to see me, too. I'll be there in all my glory. And, high five me. Let me know that you heard about the Beer and Wings podcast. I always appreciate the feedback from fans.
What do they got to do to get that 10% discount?
Just let them know about the podcast, Seth. I'm glad you
do
brought that
exactly
up.
What we just said.
Just say, hey, I heard about you guys on the Beer and Wings podcast. 10% off. Boom. Done deal.
No promo code, nothing. Just mention it.
I heard about you guys on the Beer and Wings podcast. 10% off on a firearm. And when you're talking a $600 pistol, you're talking about saving $60 right there on a gun that's already below market.
That's like
I'm
two
coming for
full tanks of gas almost.
Yeah,
depending on what you're driving.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You must work
Nissan
where I work.
I drive a Nissan Kicks. That's 3 tanks of gas.
Yeah. But guys, we're gonna have to continue this. This has been a fun bunch. Zach, as always, and we didn't give it a shout out, but make sure you follow us on the live streams. We've got Zenith Darksky from YouTube, TikTok. The dude is everywhere. Make sure you follow him.
If your mom shops in the local Dollar General, I'm in the corner streaming.
He's like, I'm buying a Mountain Dew and watching your mom. It's really weird. But and I am Matt, Mattrixxz Gaming. I'm on YouTube. Haven't been so much lately, largely on TikTok, but you guys who know, you know. So make sure you give us a follow. And we have Seth, who is the Krafty One.
I don't stream on anything, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
He pops in on the live streams too. So if you guys see Krafty and you heard this podcast, make sure you give him a high five in chat. But until the next time.
Next crime.
It is time. Until the next time, guys. We've enjoyed having you, and I've enjoyed the conversation, gentlemen. I love you guys, and make sure you have good luck and all the fun.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Later, guys.
Goobchi.
Bye.